All right, guys. Hello. Good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Below the Line podcast. I am Josef Pavlon, and there's Justin Hebert with me
Yep.
tonight for what is this episode 125? Yeah, we're 125 episodes of this Motorsports podcast, and I'll just say that to put it to put it lightly, history repeats itself. It certainly did in Le Mans with Toyota's fourth win and their fourth in a row.
Yep.
Just a good way to start out a new car configuration for these overall Le Mans competitors. I mean, to say that all five cars finished from the hypercar class in the top five spots overall, and
Yep.
none of the cars had retired from the race in the duration of 24 hours is a major success. Just
Yeah.
take a look at some of the other cars that we've seen come and go in the previous years in the old LMP1 class, or just in general competing for overall wins that had problems that didn't make it.
Yeah.
Some from teams that tried to test the waters of racing for an overall Le Mans win, like Nissan. Several years ago they tried to return with the GTR LM Nismo, I believe it was.
Yeah.
The LM Nismo, and it didn't work. Double retirement. Or Aston Martin's walk of shame out from overall competition in 2011 when they had all their entries retire in the first half hour. Just to say a few, that was 2011. Sure, Toyota, of course, they were on top. They came prepared, probably the most prepared for everyone else.
Yep.
Alpine had a good run. Well, we're going to hold out that Le Mans discussion later when we get into the race events. I could go on and on about what happened in France, but certainly it was nice to hear the roar of 50,000 spectators, something we did not have last year. Of course, we had to wait an extra 2 months almost to make this a possibility.
Yeah. But the fans were there. Really good crowd that was at Le Mans to watch the race. It was, good crowd for them. Good for them to have some people watching from the track.
50,000 is a good number. Usually we reach around 200,000 plus based off the entirety of the track in some way, shape, or form. But we're going to discuss that later because we're going to start off as we always do with our NASCAR discussion of what happened in the Michigan 400. And wow, I knew that the second half of this 4-race stretch to get to the playoffs were going to be two different super speedway tracks where speed and aerodynamics will be the most of priorities. After the two road course races at two different road course tracks, and we had two completely different kinds of races. Here, we're probably about to be strapped in for two different kinds of events on these super speedways. And Ryan Blaney in super speedways, it's a perfect combination. In fact, if you really think about it, his first win was at Pocono, which is considered a super speedway by many. A very difficult track. He's already racked up how many wins at Talladega? 2?
Yeah. 2 wins at Talladega, 2019 and 2020. So, 2 wins at Talladega already.
He was close to winning the Daytona 500 about, 3 times now?
Yep. He's been close so many times with the 500.
Including a runner-up finish that was just a near win. And 2017, of course, with the Wood brothers. But 2018, he led the most laps. But this is a Ryan Blaney track. Michigan, I knew that with the length of the track and how well Blaney does at these big tracks. And hey, let's not go too far back. Atlanta Motor Speedway, he won the 500-mile race there in the spring.
Yep.
Did he have the car to beat all day? No, he didn't. And the same can be said with this race here at Michigan.
Yep.
That poses a question now. How did Ryan Blaney beat the best of Hedrick Motorsports to win this event?
I don't know. He had good restarts. That final restart, he really got a good restart, which really helped him. But he was also at the right place at the right time. He got a good push on one of the restarts to take the lead. Because with this package, you need a good push, or you're not going to have the best restart, as we've seen before. Ryan Blaney got a good push on the start, and that's how he got jumped out front, and he managed the lanes to cut the draft to make sure they couldn't draft off of him. He really managed it well.
I mean, it was not looking like a place to be. If you saw it, because Michigan, unlike Daytona, had the the rule with the one to go before the restart of the race, everybody can choose which lane, left or right, where they want to be. If you're a lead lap car and you're, with the leaders, you have the opportunity to choose which lanes you want to go to. And a lot of the guys chose the outside lane in the closing restarts.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if I was in that race somehow in a sim, and that was how the flow of the track was running, the top side is the best side, I would have done the top side like most of the guys did. Guess what? All those drivers lost.
Yeah, like the outside, like sometimes it got momentum, but didn't work too much. Compared to the Xfinity race, the outside was better than the Cup race, but it also depends the package. The Cup package and Xfinity are two different packages, but
with the Xfinity cars, it's much easier to stretch out the gap between the car, yourself and the car behind you. These Cup cars, the way the package runs here in Michigan, the same could not be said. And also with the inside line, you better have good tires. And chances are you need the good tires to make a pass on the restart from the inside line.
Yeah.
And you really don't have all the opportunities because you're going to really waste the tire grip. The grip you have on the Goodyears will go out so fast if you just get it wrong. If the car on the outside, reaches your quarter panel and passes you on the backstretch, you're mostly likely done for. Ryan Blaney, he probably knew that. That was that could have been a risk, and clearly he took advantage of that and checked all the boxes of what he had to do to get that lead and pull away. And it wasn't easy. William Byron came back, and to be honest, looking how Larson and Byron, they weren't really pushing each other that much on the final lap as the commentators on NBC said, but because it looked like Larson wanted to get that spot for himself on the final lap and a half. If they weren't a little spread out instead of just working together, maybe Byron could have had a chance to win. He was close. I mean, if there was another lap, he might have had a chance to get around Blaney.
Yeah.
So to wrap up what happened out on the track, see what the results looked like. It was only 8 laps for Ryan Blaney that he led in this 400-mile race.
Yeah.
Popular win because Team Penske, this is one of Penske's home tracks, to be honest, because actually Roger Penske helped put the track together in the late 1960s.
Yeah, and also Ford.
And, you're near Detroit, Windsor. This is big for the automakers. A lot of presence from the headquarters of these manufacturers. They come to the races at Michigan and will interact with teams and drivers, and you want to give them a good showing of their brand. That's what, and especially if you're driving for Team Penske. I mean,
which
this is Roger's hometown somewhat, some way.
Yeah, and we know that Logano did not have a good run for Penske. He had incident. Brad Keselowski's still looking for his first win at his home track in Michigan. He's still looking for that.
I mean, we saw every time he got to the lead, he led only 6 laps, but you could hear it from the crowd when he led those 6 laps.
But good win for Ryan Blaney and Team Penske.
He was looking for it. I'm surprised to say this, but this is the first season of Ryan Blaney's career that he's won more than once in one season. I thought that was already
because remember 2017, his only win in 2017 was Pocono. 2018, his only win came at the Roval. 2019, his only win at Talladega. And 2020, his only win at Talladega. That's interesting. He's not. Yeah, it's interesting. The first season when multiple wins. Because. So, that's an interesting statistic.
William Byron, let's talk about Byron. He led 18 laps. I thought he led way more than 18 laps. But started 18.
Wow.
Finished second. And, William Byron had a good. I think he had a little statement in that run he had against his Hedrick Motorsports teammates. Yeah, I'm right here. I'm not that far away from Larson and Elliott and Bowman. I'm sure he's probably going to catch up too. Just wait till the playoffs begin and how the seedings look like. We're going to find all that, of course, by the time we come back here for the next episode. But Larson. He was close from getting a 4th win at Michigan. If he ended up winning, he led 70 laps, started first. That would have been his first Michigan win for Hedrick Motorsports. All 3 of his wins actually came consecutively, and they were with Chip Ganassi Racing.
Yep.
And this is unfortunately Chip Ganassi Racing's final race in a NASCAR event at Michigan. Kurt Busch, speaking of Ganassi's team, finished 4th. He led a lap. This is a track where Kurt Busch has success in. He's won here 3 times for 3 different teams and 3 different car configurations. Yes, he's won. Actually, no, I take that back because his second one was not in 08. It was in 07 for Penske. So that was with the Gen 4 car. But he started 6th, and I'm telling you, these guys better watch out for Kurt. He still has the energy and momentum and the skills to get more wins, and he'll have to do well in the playoffs because I bet he'll probably be one of the lower seedings when we get around there. Maybe not as low because of all the different winners we've had this year, but definitely not on the top seedings. But we'll see what happens. The Daytona International Speedway has been a good track for him. We'll talk about more on that later. Denny Hamlin, it looks unfortunately like the quest to win the regular season championship is slipping away for Hamlin, but he's doing everything he can to stay alive in it. He led 10 laps. He had a very unique strategy towards the end. Started 9th and finished 5th. I like that Hamlin's crew chief, Chris Gabehart, makes all kinds of different unique strategies, and they're not afraid to put one together if they really need it. And that's why Hamlin has been so strong this year. 6th place, Matt DiBenedetto. I tell you, if the cautions lined up differently and the way he was catching up to the front, who knows if we would have seen Matt DiBenedetto end up in victory lane. He was getting there. Led 1 lap, started 4th, had a brilliant race. Kyle Busch won stage 2, only led 13 laps, started 7th, finished 7th as well. A good run for Kyle Busch. Don't look away from him either. Chase Elliott led 61 laps, won stage 1, started 2nd, finished 8th. A good showing for the 9 car, last year's champion. And then, of course, the hometown driver. We already mentioned Brad Keselowski. Led 6 laps in the race, started 20th, finished 9th. This next track might be very well to him compared to Michigan, Daytona. We'll see how that works. Martin Truex Jr. rounded out the top 10. He finished 5th. Just had an up and down day for Martin Truex Jr., but a top 10 after that is a fulfilling one.
Yeah.
Christopher Bell led 3 laps, started 28th, finished 13th. Who else you want to note here? Oh, Josh Berry, 26th place in for the Spire Motorsports driver Corey LaJoie. LaJoie was issued COVID-19 protocols and had to step away from the track. So Josh Berry came in. 26th place finish is the career best finish for this short track superstar. And Austin Dillon led 2 laps. He finished 36th, retired after starting 26th in a bizarre crash at the end of the stage 2. And it's so unfortunate for Austin Dillon and the RCR came, and of course his fans, because it looked like this.
He had a fast car.
Absolutely strong.
Ooh, his car was really fast this weekend, but it was a misjudgment by Brad because they finished the stage. Austin Dillon, he was on the apron. He has to come back on the track because you can't run on the apron the whole time. Brad Keselowski was side drafting him, trying to get the position, but misjudged a bit because that's racing. Accidents happen. People kept saying Austin Dillon came up, but those people, even Brad Keselowski said he made a mistake.
Brad knew right away that he didn't,
but even people are saying Brad's lying that he made a mistake. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Why would Brad be lying about what he did?
And that was an absolutely scary crash. No one wants to see even their most hated of rivals in a position like that. Dillon hit that outside wall head on, but with all the innovations of technology and safety, he had that safer barrier at first impact. How strong those Gen 6 bodies are kept him in the cockpit and in one piece intact the whole scene of the crash. I don't know about roof flaps. That car was very close to turning over. How hard that hit was.
Yeah.
Very much like Ryan Newman's accident in the Daytona 500, but also reminded me a little bit of Dane Blaney's crash, but not as much. Or Bobby Hill's crash. That reminded me of the impact, but it was a freak accident, and now Austin Dillon has to be accident free and keeping up with the leaders, which of course is a risk of itself. He pretty much has to win this race, and it's going to be either one or the other for RCR or somebody else, because it's very likely that can happen, whether it's dependent on points or not, that either Austin Dillon or Tyler Reddick take that last spot. And that's where we're going to lead into the next part of this Cup Series discussion, is the playoffs, because the next race will be the regular season finale at Daytona International Speedway on Saturday.
Yep,
so
sorry.
15 this is never before seen in the history of this format that began in 2014, the win endurance system with 16 seeds, the first 26 races, that we have only 15. One spot left.
15
are
locked.
The final regular season race.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick locked in last week. Hamlin locked in the week before at Indy.
Yes, so who is in based off seedings? And remember, for this, it's from highest to lowest on wins. The points
Kyle Larson
before the seeding begins. Yeah. Larson with 5 wins, Martin Truex Jr., Alex Bowman with 3 wins. With 2 wins is Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney. And then with 1 win, and this is why it is only one spot left. William Byron, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Kurt Busch, Christopher Bell, Michael McDowell, Eric Almirola. Then with 0 wins and points exclusively, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, and leaving 1 spot open currently Tyler Reddick.
Yeah,
now Tyler Reddick has 25 points over his Childress teammate Austin Dillon.
But who's behind the number 3?
These guys, I think, have to win it.
But who?
I mean, 120 points for Matt DiBenedetto.
Oh,
it's almost a must-win situation for
them. Because
it's over a race worth of points.
Like the most you can get with all point, like 2 playoff points and the bonus points, 49. So basically, you got to win. So DiBenedetto.
Chris Buescher minus 135. He has to win. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. minus 173.
Oh my God.
Anyone else on back have to win this race.
Yeah.
And hey, no more trying track than Daytona International Speedway for this 400-mile race upcoming. Can be a better place for those drivers to steal that spot.
But you got to be in the top 30 points, which 30th is Anthony Alfredo's the guy in 30th.
Back to 31st from Alfredo.
Oof, a good bit. It's Josh Bilicki, like 100 points behind.
Would not even...
No, Bilicki.
And is he in the race this weekend?
Who?
Bilicki.
Yeah, he's in the 52. He's full-time in the 52.
It's really a long shot. So how many points are between Bilicki and Alfredo?
Oh, it's probably... I'm going to go...
Alfredo wouldn't even have to worry about it if he wins, because that would not drop him any further than 30th.
Okay, I'm checking. Where's this? Okay, so right now, Bilicki. Oh my, Bilicki's 101 points.
He's fine, and Alfredo doesn't. Yeah, I mean, because, anyways, winning if you're 30th points would only jump you higher in the championship.
Like Alfredo has 237, which he's 70 back of LaJoy. Bilicki has 136 points. And Quinn Houff is still Quinn Houff, because Davison did not run, he's barely ahead of Davison, who's ran less races. Oh my gosh, Quinn.
Okay, that's another discussion.
No, Quinn
Maybe
Houff's
it's a question of who gets the first, who causes the first caution in the race.
He'll be probably in a rush.
But speaking of the driver that Quinn Houff replaced, we'll talk about possible upset winner. Right? We saw it 2 years ago. It could happen again.
Conn Brothers.
Conn Brothers hire Lanny Castle, driver that Quinn Houff replaced, which caused a lot of controversy. But we'll discuss that. Obviously, Star Come Racing, but
Lanny Castle had Conn Brothers.
We have another. We're gonna get into the NASCAR discussion though, because let's move on to the Xfinity series. We had the Michigan 250. It was the first time that they had one since 2019, and it seems like ever since 2018, after Byron's near win with Hedrick or the Hedrick Alliance of Junior Motorsports, that Chevrolet has been dominant here, and that's the case.
Yeah, 2018, 2019.
RCR, another RCR engine.
And this year, AJ Allmendinger.
He had a great car. I didn't think it would be his race at all. And to be honest, the Michigan 250 is usually one of the more competitive races in recent years. Series, obviously, without 2020 having the race, but it was an interesting showing of drivers.
Michigan's a good racetrack. Oh, Xfinity cars at Michigan are interesting.
Like we said earlier, that the package, the aerodynamic package, allows different kinds of racing for those guys.
Oh.
You can create much bigger gaps on your own out there on the racetrack,
and also
than you can in the Cup cars.
Also, remember the high line for Xfinity. You can restart up there and not lose spots. Because off the corners, you get so much momentum off the corner from the outside. And also, if you use the outside, you can get the car on the inside looser, which is kind of an advantage to be on the outside. Because you saw AJ Allmendinger on those restarts on the outside, he just pulled away. Like him on the outside.
The draft, it's something that an IndyCar driver like AJ have learned. Unfortunately, because of the split, he only had as one Indianapolis 500. Attempt. It went successful. He was actually a candidate to win for Penske that year. But just how most IndyCar races run on ovals, regardless, you got to learn your ways to cut the drift in the car behind you. Let's talk about this event. Unlike the Cup Series, you still have a few more races left before the playoffs are there.
Yeah.
This race obviously went down to some late race cautions and restarts. AJ held his own, held his ground, much like he didn't getting that Cup Series win, but instead this time from the leading 70 laps, winning stage 2, start second. It's his 8th career win.
Yeah,
his third of the season. This is the first time he's exceeded 2 wins in 1 year.
Yeah, because he won at his first one came at Vegas. Then after Las Vegas, where did he win after that?
Mid-Ohio.
Oh, yeah, Mid-Ohio. And then after that, he wins at Michigan, which I don't remember when Allmendinger last year, he got his first one at an oval last year at Atlanta. That's when I knew, AJ could win on ovals, too. He showed his speed, which I like Kaulig Racing. They have good trio of Jed Byrne, Justin Haley, and Allmendinger. They have a good 3 drivers. They all have.
Sure, they're looking really forward to the next race too.
Yeah, Daytona.
Daytona, especially in the Daytona 250, where they've won back to back.
Yeah, so good win for AJ Allmendinger and Kaulig Racing. Matt Kaulig, he's put on this team only started in the series back in 2016. Yeah, they started. They started in 2016 with. They
had a lot more power than all teams anticipated too.
Yeah, Blake Cook. Remember Blake Cook made the playoffs the first season ever.
It was the first year with it though, and we didn't know how many.
Yeah, but but
it was still a good showing.
But there was 12. Remember, there was only 12. They made it. You're talking about Blake Cook for the startup team made the playoffs the first year. That was so impressive to see them just doing that good. And then they got Justin Haley and they had Ryan Truex for 2018.
Chastain.
Yeah,
AJ's addition really helped, as was Ross and Justin Haley. Absolutely done well.
Now they have Jed Byrne, who has a win. I know it was rain short.
Finally got his first win in the series.
I know it was rain, but he was up front. And Jed Byrne, he has speed at many tracks, so they have good lineup, which really helps Kaulig.
And it could only get better for them. But here's the thing: in terms of the Drivers' Championship, AJ does still have a lot of ground to make up, even though with Austin Cindric's misfortunes.
Well, he closed in a decent amount.
He is closing the gap regardless, which is a good sign. Yeah. We'll see how it works out going into the next race. Brandon Jones had an interesting showing. Bad start to the race. Started 24th, had a hard time getting to the top 10, but in the closing laps, he could have had a chance to win that race. If something went wrong with AJ's car, it would have been Brandon Jones in victory lane.
Yeah.
Noah Gragson, a very well done 3rd place finish for the junior motorsports driver who had just a very rocky start to the season. How about Josh Berry? So he was called in, of course, to replace Michael Annett. Michael was chose to sit out this one as well. Josh Berry, this race took me more by surprise than his first win at Martinsville ever was. And I'll explain in a minute. He led 24 laps, started 17th, finished 4th. So the guy started almost mid-pack.
Yeah.
He led 24 laps and finished 4th place. And this is all done on a super speedway. This guy comes from short tracks. He's one of the best late model short track drivers right now in the States.
But And also, do you know what's funny?
This is a super speedway. I've never seen Josh Berry run like this before.
And
he's going to drive full time for the championship next year for that team, Junior Motorsports, in car number 8.
Yeah, and also about Josh Berry. That was his first start at Michigan ever.
Wow.
Too. So first time at the track, no practice or qualifying. Ends up getting 4th at a super speedway. I was so confused. I looked at my TV for a second. They were showing quarterbacks or players. I saw Justin. Like, I thought I said my name, but it said Justin Herbert.
Yeah, the Justin Herbert joke lives on.
Like, oh, the person that thought I was the quarterback for the LA Chargers, which last time I checked, I'm not a quarterback. But other than that, yeah, Josh Berry, good run at Michigan for Junior Motorsports. If there was a driver of
the day award, I would give it to him.
Yeah,
Fifth place, Harrison Burton. Very solid run. Remember Harrison's first ever Cup Xfinity Series win. We're not there yet. No. Maybe next year. But his first Xfinity Series win was at a similar track at Fontana, the Auto Club Speedway. Another track, ironically, was put together with assistance by Roger Penske, just like this one.
Yeah. But good. Yeah, Harrison Burton.
And Justin Allgaier moves up to 3rd in points with this effort. He led 9 laps and started 6th place finish, but an untimely caution really wiped away his chances of a win.
Yeah, but Allgaier.
Go ahead.
Like Allgaier, remember the green flag pit stop? You don't know why Josh Berry passed him? Allgaier took fuel only, and Berry took 4, so basically Berry closed in the gap, and then Allgaier pitted. Remember that caution Allgaier pitted for 4 tires? He ended up getting the worst restart somehow on his new tires, and that kind of hurt him. If he would have took 4, he would have been good, but he decided to take no tires on the restart and then pit. Then got his new tires, and then he made a mistake on the restart. Yeah.
But regardless, takes over 3rd in the championship.
Yep.
7th place, Riley Herbst. Remember how we talked about Harrison Burton's first Xfinity win being at Fontana of last year? Well, his then teammate was Riley Herbst and finished 2nd right behind Harrison Burton in the track. A good run for him, and he's going to need those to not be at risk of missing out on the 12 driver playoffs. He's
currently the person in 12th ahead of Michael Annett, who, Michael Annett missed. I don't know if he'll be in the race. He's on the entry list at Daytona. We'll see. Because
he's a former winner there too. His only win was the 300-mile race in 2019.
Yeah,
and that's the same team that he drove for then. And here we are. Who knows what that's going to look like? So Riley Herbst, better dot his I's and cross his T's here. How about Brent Moffitt? A nice 8th place finish for the Our Motorsports driver. Started mid-pack, brought it home in the top 10. How about Jade Buford? 9th place finish.
Ooh, good run. And usually, Jade Buford, he's a road course racer. He got a top 10 at a super
top 10.
That's good for Jade Buford. And 10th place.
Bubba Wallace, in his first start in the series since Chicagoland of 2017, drives the Hattori Racing number 61 Toyota, recovers from an early race accident that takes Austin Cindric out of the race. And brings it home into the top 10 in a car that was damaged. A good showing for the driver.
I know. And
I'm thinking it's glad. Maybe Bubba Wallace might want to run some more Xfinity races in the future.
Like this one reason he was tapped to. Remember, Austin Hill was originally scheduled to drive, but they realized that he wasn't Gateway. He was running
He wants to focus on Gateway.
And also in case
2 races when he's going for a championship.
But also not just that, in case it rained at Gateway and pushed to Saturday, in case you never know what the weather in Gateway.
Josh Berry would have been in danger of not being able to run that race. Well, he actually ran all 3 of the NASCAR races.
But Bubba, good top 10 for this team. Helps them in owner points.
Big time. And especially going into this next race, too.
Yeah, they're in the race because owner points, but still, good momentum for the 61 team.
13th place, Ty Gibbs. Very unusual, but most drivers in their first year part-time at age 18 would be happy with a 13th place finish. But if you're Ty Gibbs, that is not the case. He led the lap start 10th, but had some issues in the race.
He's fun.
What, was that the second to last caution that he spun in?
Yeah, he spun and he almost. I thought there was going to be somebody clobbering him. Nobody hit him. He was on the outside, got loose, and I thought, like, oh, nobody hit him. Nobody hit him, which was impressive that nobody got into him when he spun.
I think that happened. The race ended just around the time of the Le Mans 24 hours when Sophie Flores had that big impact, or it could have been worse. I mean, if the car that didn't hit her didn't break, then it would have been devastating. But I was thinking just that when Ty Gibbs was spinning in the middle of the pack. So glad that everyone avoided him, and he returned to get a 13th place finish with one restart. 15th place. How about Jordan Anderson? He gets his career best finish driving for his own car. Started 31st in car 31.
15th. He ran the truck race the previous day, but good run. Good run for Jordan Anderson. Like, I remember this team, remember they kept DNQing because they had no owner points because of all the races with no qualifying. Right as Tyler Reddick made the race, remember Reddick made the race at Coda, and the race at Charlotte, the Charlotte weekend had qualifying also. That's when the 31 made races.
And now they're a fixture in the owner points. They don't have to worry anymore.
Yeah. Which is now the main person in owner points that's missing races is the 13 Carl Long entry now. But Jordan Anderson, remember Jordan Anderson? Remember when he got second at Daytona?
Second place finishes in a row in the Truck Series Daytona race.
Yeah. He's showing his speed. I know, he's driving for his own team, and he's doing good in his own equipment. Sometimes
outperforming his own equipment. 29th place, unfortunately, Jeb Burton, unlike his teammate, did not have that same success. While he led 23 laps and started 12th, he was involved in contact, he ran out of fuel in a stop, and actually his car stopped just shy of the pit entry. He just wasn't able to make it there. 29th place for Jeb. And unfortunately for 37th place, it was Austin Cindric, the champion. Stage 1 winner. Led about 12 laps. He started first. Retired after contact.
Cars with no tires ahead of cars with... The accident was cars with older tires in front of cars with newer tires and contact.
When it gets chaotic.
Contact on the back straightaway. That Bubba was involved in that accident, but he recovered. But Cindric's car was destroyed in the crash. That car was not going to run anymore because...
And you need the aero to depend on for a truck like Michigan.
You saw how...
He never met the minimum speed.
You
retire the car.
He still has the points lead, but he did lose some points compared to AJ, who gained. Because, it was 70-some points. Now it's dropped a decent amount.
We go to the Daytona 250.
On Friday night.
Friday night. It's not that far from now. Standings. Let's take a look at the championship standings. We'll just look at the top 10 as we still have some races to go in the regular season. Austin Cindric's lead has decreased to 35 points. He has 872 points for AJ Allmendinger in second. Now for third, it looked like for a moment, a good half month ago, that maybe Daniel Hemmer could catch AJ for second. Well, he had 2 bad races, and now he's gone from third to fourth. Allgaier is having a good stretch so far. He's up to third with 757 points. Fourth place, Daniel Hemrick, 743 points, and his teammate Harrison Burton, 726. That puts Harrison fifth. Justin Haley in sixth with 684 points. Noah Gragson leaps up to seventh with 674 points. Jeb Burton's poor result dropped him down to eighth with 665 points. Brandon Jones leaps up to ninth with 566 points, and Jeremy Clements rounds out the top 10 with 545 points.
Yeah, Jeremy Clements, he's doing solid in points. Jeremy Clements, he's an owner driver for his family team. He's driving for his family team. He's doing solid in points.
Usually he brings a fast car to Daytona International Speedway. So, keep an eye on him this weekend.
Yep, that 51 Chevrolet. You'll see that 51 black Chevy out there.
I just want to let you guys know, in case you guys are wondering, what is next between now and the end of the Xfinity Series regular season. Well, it doesn't get much easier. We have 4 different racetracks, actually 2 that are the same but have way different layouts. We have Daytona International Speedway, the final super speedway of this 4-race trip to the end of the regular season. Then we go to Darlington Speedway. Now, Darlington, that's a track of its own caliber. Either you love it or hate it. It's not an easy track, to say the least. Richmond International. Okay, Richmond Raceway is a very, very fun, easy track, and it's a grueling circuit for those who are good at road course, short tracks.
I was about to say road courses.
My mind's going somewhere else here. And then Bristol, a way different type of short track. One that is very fluid, fast, and depends on your braking and it's a difficult place to drive. That's for sure.
Good, because do you know how long you're on the straightaways for at Bristol? You're only on the straightaways for 4 seconds on each straightaway. That's how short a lap is at Bristol. Like, you see laps 14, 15-second lap times there. Yeah, Bristol is a real short track.
A lot of hand-eye coordination around there, and that's going to decide your 12 driver championship playoffs for the final 7 races of the season. Now let's move on into the series that already began their playoff run, and that was the NASCAR Truck Series Gateway 200. Just like last year, Sheldon Creed wins at Gateway, goes on to win the championship, and he picks up right where he left off again this year. Now he wins at Gateway for the second year out in absolute domination. I mean,
he dominated.
He drove a flawless race, and this to put it lightly, that is what a 2-time championship driver looks like if he keeps it up. And now we'll get into this race because there are a lot of things to point out. This was a standalone race. It was actually supporting the IndyCar series race that we'll talk about after this Truck Series event. But as for the Truck Series, remember, only 22 races. So this is the start of their playoffs, 10 drivers. This is race 1 of 3 in the round of 10, which determines your 8 drivers for the round of 8. So 3 races, and it ain't easy, Justin. There are 3 different kinds of tracks we're talking about here. Gateway is like a one-of-a-kind track, and then after that we go to Darlington, and then Bristol. You really have to get your game on, otherwise you might be the one thinking about next year before the season's over, and you don't want to do that. But yeah, like I said, standalone race, which means we're going to have a lot of drivers to talk about. So let's go through the results first, and then talk about the race second. So as for Sheldon Creed, he won stage 1, stage 2, led 142 laps, started 4th, his 7th career win. That was absolutely flawless for the showstopper. Second place, playoff driver Matt Crafton started 10th. Crafton, of course, looking for that record-tying 4th championship. Third place went to Ben Rhodes. Playoff driver started 7th. 4th place went to Stuart Friesen, who was back into the championship hunt. Remember, last year he had a rough season, but this year he's just like trying to get back to that 2019 rank. Doing very well. He's in the playoffs, starting 9th, a good top 5 showing. And how about the veteran Johnny Sauter? Now, he's not in the playoffs, but starting mid-pack and bringing it into the top 5, that's a good effort. Let's talk about these drivers, 6th place and 7th place. How about career best finishes for Chase Purdy and Hailie Deegan? Purdy has not had the best year so far, considering that his team is the defending champion of the series and have 2 drivers competing for a title this year. Chase Purdy, definitely a rocky season, but gets a 6th place finish. That is absolutely well-deserved, and he kept his truck clean all night. And so did Hailie Deegan, who finished 7th after starting 19th, brought her Ford into the top 10. This is Deegan's first top 10 and Purdy's second top 10. 8th place, Carson Hocevar. Now, the fact he finished 8th or even in the top 15 at all, that's a win of its own, especially after the accident he was involved in. With, Carson Hocevar's Nice Motorsports truck recovering from mid-race chaos. And the playoff driver started in 6th, and hopefully, Darlington, I'm sure he's very excited for that race. Career best finish of 2nd was there earlier this year in Vegas.
Carson, he was announced recently that he's returning to Nice, which Carson Hocevar, he showed his speed in this truck. Like, remember people saying, "Oh, Nice is not that good compared to when they had their GMS lines," but Carson has shown so much speed in that truck. Like, He's impressing me with no practice and qualifying. First full-time season. He ran a few races last year for Nice. This year, full-time season. He's the best rookie, because of ranking. There's only, in the playoffs, whoever's in the playoffs, if there's rookies in the playoffs, they're going for Rookie of the Year. But
he's considered Rookie of the Year by that.
Away. Yeah, over. Yeah, he's just fast. You see him at some tracks. He's fast.
9th place went to Austin himself. How about the driver in his family-owned equipment doing a very solid run? We've seen that before.
Yeah.
And give a call to Jack Wood, a career best finish of 10th, his first ever top 10 finish in the series, driving for GMS Racing. He started in 21st position.
He's doing this. No practice and qualifying. The only series he's done other than the trucks at the track was in the K&N West series. Remember there was the East-West combos and all that? And he's ran ARCA. The reason he's in the truck after Rafael Lessard left, they had Ryan Reed running Darlington and then except Bristol. Yeah, they had Biffle and Ryan Reed. Now they have Jack Wood except one race. Bristol is going to be Doug Kobe. No, Kobe's running Bristol, and the rest of the season is Jack Wood. But Emmerling drove for Our Motorsports at
I'll see about them.
But Jack Wood has showed his speed.
He's a great driver, and Chevrolet signed him for a reason.
Yeah, he drove for his Velocity Racing team. Do you want to know what's fun to me? When he drove for that team last year, for his family team, which doesn't have the most equipment, he out-qualified, I think, 3 of the Bill McAnally cars in 4th place at one of the races. And really did well.
That says a lot. He
out-qualified Bill McAnally cars.
He's so solid out there on track.
Yeah, that's why Chevy signed him with GMS. And remember, GMS, he runs some ARCA races in GMS racing equipment.
All right, let's continue on with the results because like I said, this was a standalone race compared to the Michigan NASCAR weekend, so we have a lot of things to point out before we discuss the race itself. Tyler Hill, the younger brother of Timmy Hill, driving for Timmy Hill's Truck Series team, picked up his career best finish of 11th for the 3rd time. He started back at 27th.
Yeah,
great run for the driver. 12th place went to Taylor Gray, the younger brother of Tanner Gray. Career best finish for him. He started in 26th. Second start.
Yep.
How about 21st place? Give a call to Armani Williams, driving for Rayon Brothers Racing in his debut. Started 36. Kept the truck out of trouble. Avoided all accidents and brought home in 20.
Yeah, still solid. I know it's people that's not a good finish. It's not for the best team. Rayon Brothers Racing, it's not the best equipment, but 21st is solid for, not if you finish 21st in, a top team, that's not good, but a team that struggles in some races to get a top 30, getting 21st is good.
I always, I've talked to Armani before. He's always a confident driver who is optimistic about his racing opportunities. And, for someone who's, you and I, we've talked about autism before that. Since we both are on the spectrum, that a guy like Armani Williams being out there in NASCAR and talking about how being an athlete with autism can help you in many ways. And he's just done so well. He spent 2 years in the last 2 seasons in the last 3 years racing part-time for the Pinty series and ran some ARCA starts, got himself a top 10
for Andy Hellenberg Racing with their entries. But he really did good
on your debut. That is something to remember. How about let's continue on with the results here. Now, in terms of the championship, these two drivers, 22nd, John Nemechek, and 3rd place, Austin Hill. So no 3-0 for Austin Hill.
Yeah, 23rd place. Yeah, he's still on pole. Austin Hill. Yeah, John Nemechek, the reason they're back there, Nemechek's truck turned off on him on the straightaway, which is kind of bad. The truck shut off, and they tried to avoid him. It's kind of hard to avoid them at a narrow, not
at least he was able to get the truck refired and bring it home.
Yeah.
It was enough to stop some bleeding, but not all.
Yeah.
24th place. How about Roger Roos? In fact, he did this on an oval, a career best finish. Roger Roos, 24th place. 26th place. Derek Griffith driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports in his NASCAR Truck Series debut. Let's hope to see him run some more races in the future.
He was running well. He was near the top 10 until, remember, he got loose underneath Taylor Gray, and he backed it into the wall. That's where the rear damage came from. But it was his debut. If he had more...
27th place, another driver making his debut. How about Chris Hacker, which we've
seen
him race before in the Arcus Series, driving for Rail. Actually recovered, spent a few laps in the garage.
He had electrical issue, so they pushed it to the garage. He ended up finishing the race in his number 34 entry. At least he got a finish.
Good for Chris, and he's an awesome personality. If you follow him on Twitter and social media, he's a very friendly driver. His NASCAR drivers are absolutely friendly sometimes. And I hope to see him run some more races. We'll see where Chris Hacker goes in the future. Unfortunately, Chandler Smith, who needed a good finish. I think he was one of the last. He was in last place seed, 10th going into this race.
Yeah, he was 10th.
28th place does not help him in the championship hunt, and a lot of people expected better.
Well, he had an engine issue. Remember, he was smoking. He had some smoke coming up, so they had to reset something, and they came back out many laps down. At least they got points. Better than retiring. They ran what they could to get extra spots in case.
It finished ahead of two other playoff drivers, and not to mention Todd Gillen, who 29th, and Zane Smith, who led 19 laps and started fifth. Those are also playoff drivers.
But they did not finish the race. Todd Gillen was involved. That crash I talked about with Nemechek, he was involved. He got so much damage from it. The fenders were missing. His truck was not aerodynamic at all. That truck was not going to be up to speed because I can tell
they wouldn't be minimum speed.
Yeah, and then Zane Smith, he had a rear gear fail on the 21. So no transmission failure. So you kind of
he's out of his hands.
You kind of need the transmission on a restart. You can't stay in fourth gear the whole time.
Especially at Gateway, this is one of those tracks where you do have to go from third to fourth at one part of the track, the two different corners.
Especially turn 1 and 2. You downshift in the turn 1, you upshift off turn 2. Turn 1 and 2, you downshift. You go from fourth to third, and then you go back to fourth gear. You can't do that when your transmission is broken. So
this is a track that it does put your transmission durability to the test.
Yeah,
not everybody can really pass it. So 35th place for Zane Smith. Now, we have to wait until September 5th. We go to Darlington for a second time. Remember, this was supposed to be the Motorsport weekend, but NASCAR had to make a decision months beforehand whether or not to stick to it. Obviously, back then it wasn't or it wasn't feasible to go to and from the border and come back from Canada without having the quarantine.
Yeah, so... Now they're at Darlington.
Back at Darlington, and a lot of drivers are happier about that than others. Some who wanted the road course. But I'm sure John Hunter Nemechek, he probably had a better chance of winning it cleaner than he did in 2016. But
it's gonna be Sunday.
The Cup Series was Darlington.
It's gonna be Sunday afternoon like last year. Remember the race that replaced CTMP last year was also at Darlington. Right before the Cup Series, which is Sunday evening. So Sunday afternoon on the 5th. Darlington, that's race 2 of 3 in the round of 10.
So John Hunter Nemechek, now we're going to talk about the playoff standings look like, because Bristol's the third of the 3 races in this round of 10.
Yeah.
Sheldon Creed's win puts him right into the round of 8. He's advanced.
Yeah, he's in the round of 8, so doesn't have to worry about points, but there's other drivers.
It could affect how you seed in the next round. That does make an impact. So that moves John Hunter Nemechek Up to second plus 55, 2,073 points. Third place, Ben Rhodes with 52 points.
Yep.
70 points claimed for Rhodes, but Rhodes is 52 points above the cut line. Hey, he has won Darlington before, so
last year. Yeah, last year.
Matt Crafton looking for that record-tying 4th championship, plus 33 above the cut line with 2,051 on the points board. Stuart Friesen with 31 points above the cut line. 2049 points he has into this championship bid. 6th place, Austin Hill. Yeah, Austin Hill took a hit in the championship, plus 21 above the cut line, 39 points. And hey, he won a road course at Watkins Glen, but hey, that road course opportunity that might have happened. It's now back to Darlington, no road course anymore.
Yeah.
Plus 13 above the cut line is Carson Hocevar. And Hocevar could not have been a better track for him to make up this lost ground.
Yeah, finished second in the spring, so if he can, if he has the same speed, he has a shot to win it if he has good speed. And that's ironic. The sponsor is in it to win it, is the sponsor of Darlington, so he has a shot to win.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Todd Gilliland plus 10 above the cut
line. Oh, yeah, that's close for Todd Gilliland.
Stage points and be trouble-free for
this. But underneath the cutoff in 9th, Zane Smith. Smith. He took a big hit in the points with his issue, minus 10. And then
minus 18. Chandler Smith, he also suffered majorly
from his.
This could be Chandler Smith's one of his better tracks, so we'll have to see how that Kyle Busch Motorsports Toyota runs at Darlington.
Remember Darlington last year? Remember they ran Darlington last year? Chandler Smith could have got a top 10. Remember he blew a tire late? Chandler Smith could have actually got a top 10. He was running 7th till he had to bring his truck down pit road with a blown tire. Yeah. So he was circling that, but another race he's circling is Bristol. He got second. Remember, Chandler Smith finished second at Bristol to Brett Moffitt.
Quite a few times by now.
Yeah, like he's circling Darlington and Bristol. If he can't win at Darlington, he'll try winning at Bristol because
a bad race at Darlington might just put him in a must-win situation for Bristol.
Yeah,
so
because
that makes
that number 8
that adds to the pressure. And Chandler Smith, he's such a good driver that sometimes I think like his stats do undermine how well he does on the racetrack.
Like, remember his 2019 stats? He got 3 top 5s and 4 top 10s and 4 starts. He got his first ever start was his worst ever finish of 8th. Then he got 4th at Gateway after starting 25th. Then he finished second at Bristol, and then third to his team. Third at Phoenix in 2019. Those were his 3 starts. He did really good in those 4 starts. In his 4 starts in 2019.
Here's the thing with the Truck Series, though, especially for this series in general. Even with all the practice and qualifying, I'm sure it would have helped. But this series, the races are shorter. The season is shorter. You have to be good. It's more like a sprint race in the Truck Series. Sometimes you just have to be towards the front at the right place at the right time. You don't have much room to make up mistakes.
Yeah, compared to like other series like the Cup Series, Xfinity Series, they have some races are not long for the Truck Series, like especially Phoenix, for example. Phoenix, in the Cup Series is 312 laps. The Truck Series is only 150 laps at Phoenix. Like that race, for an example, it's short. Pocono, 60 laps. Like, there's so many races that are short in this Truck Series. Like, Martinsville, 200 laps. It's a short track.
And the season is 11 races shorter than the Xfinity Series counterparts. And, of course, 36 races.
Cup Series. 22 is shorter than, because we've ran 25.
You don't have much room to make up from your mistakes either. So, that's why it's so tough to win in these Truck Series events. We'll see what the future looks like. And, of course, we have to wait another week.
Until then. Darlington.
So let's move on and talk about the race that headlined the track at Gateway this weekend.
Well,
that was the IndyCar Series. And their championship hunt is coming down to the wire, even more so with what happened and Saturday night's event.
Hey, at least they didn't lose power like the night before. The truck race did lose power.
But some drivers lost points instead of power.
That's true. Alex Palau.
Big time.
Ooh, but Josef Newgarden won again at Gateway.
He's the only driver to have more than one win at the track in this the race has been in the IndyCar championships for.
Does he have 3 now? I think
that's his 3rd win. He's the only driver to win more than once at Gateway.
3 wins. Yep, at Gateway.
Let me see real quick. The first race was 1997, a race that Paul Tracy won. Now that tells me that it seems like even the best in the series have a hard time winning there, especially if they can't win more than once. Well, hey, Josef Newgarden just did it for his 3rd time. Yeah,
Josef Newgarden. This is one of his good tracks, same as Iowa. He's good at some of these tracks. You go to Gateway, he's a contender. If you go to Iowa, remember Iowa's returning next year, Josef Newgarden's most likely going to win that. Anytime Josef Newgarden runs some of these races, you know he's going to be there because he's a 2-time champion for a reason.
And you know why that also is? And I'll tell you in just a minute. Let's just go through how he got to the win. It was just so he started 3rd, picked up the most laps led, bonus points, led 138 laps.
Yep.
It's his 20th career win, but even crazier, his 40th career podium. That means half of his podiums are wins.
Yeah, that is an impressive stat. Wow. He has 40 podiums, 20 wins. So half the podiums he has are his victories. That's why he's a 2-time champion for a reason. He's shown. Remember when he started out with Sarah Fisher, Ed Carpenter's teams? Till 2016, he drove for Ed Carpenter.
Yeah, he outperformed some of their equipment.
Yeah.
It wasn't
at their
peak.
But then he moved to Team Penske, replacing Juan Montoya in the
Another champion driver right there.
The first season he joined, he won the title in 2017. His first ever season with Penske, he got a title. 2018, he was close again, but Dixon got better towards the end of the season. 2019, he gets his 2nd championship. Last year, if Dixon made more mistakes, he got 2nd last year. But Newgarden, 2 titles. It's so impressive, his statistics.
Yes. How about Patricio O'Ward in 2nd, leading 1 lap, his 9th career podium. This puts him in the championship lead.
Yep.
A big day for Patricio O'Ward, or night for the Mexican driver. I don't think we've ever had a champion from Mexico in IndyCar.
No, I don't think so.
3rd place, Will Power. Now, he's out of the championship hunt, but a good run to say the least. His 62nd career pole, led 1 lap, and his 85th career podium to cap off the race at Gateway. 4th place, Scott McLaughlin. A good showing for Team Penske. Honestly, 1st, 3rd, and 4th. McLaughlin started 11th. How about Sebastian Bourdais? I thought that the street courses were going to be the races he'd do his best in. And he actually did his very best this year.
Yeah, and this AJ Foyt. Yeah, AJ Foyt Enterprises. I know they're not the best team compared to what they used to be, but top 5 for Bourdais. Good amount of points he'll get from finishing top 5. Good run for Sebastian.
But 18 laps in the process.
Yeah.
6th place went to Takuma Sato, who got the fastest lap. He started 16.
Yeah, he had
place. Ryan Hunter-Reay started 13th. What happened to Takuma, Justin?
I was saying about Takuma. He's good at this track. He's good at these ovals, so you don't want to count him out at these ovals. I knew he was going to do solid. That it sucked for his teammate, Graham Rahal, who did not finish.
9th or 8th place went to Simon Pagenaud.
He recovered. He recovered
to finish 8th,
from
but he
after
have done better.
But remember, there was the contact with Newgarden that broke his front wing, so he had to pit to replace the front wing, and they obviously threw a caution because the debris was flying all over the back straightaway. But yeah, Pagenaud, 8th place. He recovered, got up top 10.
9th place went to Marcus Ericsson, who, I think he's still mathematically in this championship, but certainly helped, but he has to be perfect moving on from that.
But still, good top 10. He's been solid this year.
Improving on the ovals.
Yeah, he's improved on these ovals, which is really helping him. And Ganassi has a good solid lineup. Those 3 full-time drivers.
Jack Harvey rounds out the top 10. Let's look at Dalton Kellett, a career best finish of 12th. He started 24th, a good run for him.
Which
great night for AJ Foyt's team.
24th. That was last place. He started the last car in the field. Plus, remember he got spun by Ed Carpenter hit him
he recovered.
He recovered from him getting hit. People thought it was him spun himself out, but he got hit by Ed. He recovered to get 12th.
We're so used to seeing misfortune for Dalton Kellett.
But it's like he's just learned this car. Like, he's not ran every race before. He's ran a few races last year, but got 12th, best career finish.
And unfortunately for Colton Herta, just like the Music City Grand Prix, he leads 101 laps.
Oh my God!
Second, and the retirement mid-race puts him to 18th.
Oof, that really sucks for Herta.
That's pretty much, I think, the end for his championship hopes.
Yeah, he's really far out by now. Yeah, 2 bad races and not 2. Like, he had 1 bad race, and then he got a podium, remember, at Indy with a 3rd, and now another DNF, which is not helping him with points. But he's going to track he knows, Portland. But then
Portland on the 12th of September for round 14 of 16.
Laguna Seca, he won there in 2019, and then Long Beach, which he's ran 1 start at Long Beach in 2019 in IndyCar. But we'll see. But yeah, Herta, that really sucked for him.
Man, just misfortunes.
Alex Palau, DNF too.
Big time.
Oof, was the
Let's
points.
talk about and Scott Dixon had a crash that took him out of the race. Let's take a look at the championship now that we have 3 races left. So Patricio O'Ward has 10 points over Alex Palau, 35 for Mexican driver, and then the Spaniard has 425 points.
Yeah,
so new championship leader. Josef Newgarden is all of a sudden back into this championship. Still needed some work to get done to get there. 413 points minus 22.
But he has 3 good tracks coming up for Newgarden. So Newgarden's going to be Portland. He's good at. I've seen him perform decent at Laguna Seca and Long Beach. He's good on street courses. So Newgarden, if he wins all 3 the next 3 races somehow, I don't know how, but you never know. But he just has to get really good finishes, and that Pato and Alex Palau don't get good finishes, basically.
Scott Dixon looking for a record-tying 7th IndyCar American Championship. 4th in points. He's at 392 points minus 43. He's going to need very good results, and for the other 3 in front of him to have some misfortune. And Marcus Ericsson, who is 3rd in the championship amongst the Ganassi teammates, that tells me that Chip Ganassi Racing is definitely on par, and they have tunnel vision for success in IndyCar. 375 points for Ericsson, minus 60. But yeah, they might just get better. We know their NASCAR program is leaving the door at the end of the year.
Yep.
That means that we could see more tunnel vision for future success. You know, following the great stuff that they've already done in IndyCar racing.
Yep.
Let's just see the rest of the top 10 looks like now. Colton Herta, 6th place, of course, minus 111.
Yeah, that's out of contention.
Simon Pagenaud, minus 115. Graham Rahal, minus 116.
Oh, yep.
Will Power, minus 120. And Takuma Sato, minus 156.
Yeah,
very unfortunate for those guys, because it's a tough championship to win in IndyCar.
Yep. All
right. Now, let's talk about the race that a lot of these drivers were originally planning to run, but with the date change, they could not. And one of the greatest races in the world, for the 89th time in beautiful Western France, we had the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Yep.
And I got to say that this was one of the more intriguing Le Mans that we've had in quite some time.
Yeah.
Toyota Gazoo Racing, Toyota, the constructors' 4th win at Le Mans, and their 4th in a row. It puts them in a lead company because that's 6th place in the all-time wins list for Toyota. They tied for 6th, and then they tied for 4th for most consecutive wins, with 4 consecutive wins. Just a great showing. And remember, this is a new era for sports car racing, especially for the overall winning contenders. They're going to be faced with some new challenges. We've already saw that even at the start of the World Endurance Championship and the end of last year's World Championship. But also, we're not even done yet. We have more that are going to follow through in terms of the bidders for Le Mans in the 2020s decade. But that might require a few more years of waiting till we reach that point. But the fact that we had all of the 5 new hypercars, the Le Mans hypercars, finish in the top 5 spots overall, and not one of them facing a retirement, that is a test well passed.
Yeah, they all finished, no issues. Like, they didn't go to the garage. Like, some had issues.
And even if they did, they still came back out and were able to complete all 24 hours.
Yeah, like, I didn't expect to see that. I thought at least 1 or 2 would not make it, but all of them made it, and especially in the top 5 positions overall. Impressive.
Absolutely.
But
let's talk about the winning car, number 7. How did that car win the race?
They were fast.
Kamui Kobayashi, José María López, completing 371 laps, 2 laps over the second place car, the sister car. This is the first win on a personal level for all 3 of those drivers at Le Mans. I know they've been knocking on the door for many years to get that done. So well done for those drivers.
But do you know what's also funny? This entry, the number 7, it's also their first win at Le Mans. The other entry, the 8, has all the Toyota wins. You know the Toyota wins? All the wins by Toyota except this one was all won by the number 8.
Right.
And this is the
José María López, he's a great driver from Argentina, one of the best from the country as we speak. And how about Kamui Kobayashi?
Oh, he's really fast.
On planet Earth that I've seen.
He qualified that car. He put I know Conway started the race, but Kobayashi's the one that put the car on pole.
He got his personal pole position at Le Mans.
And Mike Conway, he was fast.
Conway, one of the best British drivers.
He was fast too. Oh my gosh, seeing Mike Conway, Kobayashi, and José María López, they were fast during the race.
You know, this is especially important because we know that 1 to 2 3 years down the road, the competition to win this race overall will be even more difficult than it has been. And even winning this race is a victory on its own because you have to run all the 24 hours. You got to have great reliability on the car, sustain the changes in weather, and just having to be fast and stay in the fight. That's a good win for Toyota. Number 8, of course, just mentioned, finished in the 2nd spot with Sebastian Buemi, Brendan Hartley, and Kazuki Nakajima. They completed 369 laps, 2 laps behind the sister car that won the race.
Yeah.
How about 3rd place? Number 36, signature, the Alpine A480 Gibson, completed 367 laps, 4 laps behind the winner. Drivers Nicolas Lapierre, Andre Negraro, and Mathieu Vaxivière.
The French team on the podium. Really good for a
French overall podium since Peugeot in 2011.
Yeah, it's been a while, but good. Like, I knew they were gonna have decent speed, but that's good for them. I know they didn't win, but still, a podium overall at Le Mans is kind of hard to do that. But still, good run for the Alpine entry. The first time in the main class in the hypercar overall. They're in the overall class, and they ended up podium. Really strong by them.
Came with 1 car. 4th and 5th place, I was pulling for him. You know how
Glickenhaus.
Social media the whole weekend. You knew who I was pulling for. It was Glickenhaus. Scuderia Glickenhaus. The 007 LMH prepared by James Glickenhaus himself. They were contesting to become the first American constructor to win overall in 52 years and the first American team to win overall in 16 years. They passed my test as a new fan of them just to see how well they've done. Car 708 shared the same lap as the Alpine that finished on the podium, 4th overall. Luis Felipe Hippodirani, Frank Maliu, and Olivier Pla brought that car home.
You said Louis Philippe Durrani. That's actually Peppo.
Yes, I know. That's what I said.
Yeah.
709. Great run for them as well, but they had some other issues that 364 laps, -7 from the winning car. We had Ryan Briscoe, Romain Dumas, and Richard Westbrook. I think they have a bright future ahead. Yeah. Whether or not the competition gets tighter, I don't care. I'm happy to see that the presence is there. And,
good run for their team.
All right. So that was the overall category, and I think it was a pretty easy cider over there, aside from the first few hours.
The corner or the remember the.
I'm trying not to say first corner while I am, and you're the one saying just say it, first corner.
Well,
contact.
Well, the 8 got spun by one of the Glickenhaus cars.
The 708 car.
Yeah, the 708 turned the 8 car. It's like, wow, that lasted long. And Joseph, remember your reaction to the start?
Yeah, we were on the call, and I was just pissed, but I'm just glad. I knew it was 24 hours they could recover.
But remember me being so ahead during Le Mans on TV? I don't know. I don't even know how I was that ahead on TV compared to you. But it was interesting. But LMP2, there were more cars in that class, 24. And
we had some changes to the LMP2 class, which saw the introduction of a Pro-Am trophy, the highest of the Pro-Am labeled cars. And it looked like they could have won the race overall, but that wasn't meant to be because the hypercars passed the sustainability test.
Yeah, but in the LMP2 also before the race, there were 25, but 24 were LMP2s because the 17
had to pull out.
They crashed in practice 3, and also Kyle Tilley had a shoulder injury and had to miss, and they crashed in practice, so they just focused on their 48 entry.
I'm just thankful it wasn't Kyle behind the wheel who was going to try to race with the injury, but luckily he chose not to because we've seen that before with other drivers. Let's talk about the LMP2 battle, though.
Yep, LMP2.
I'm telling you, I said it many times before this year when we talk about sports car racing that Team WRT, they are serious in terms of their want to win overall or to win in class and meet prototype's best in the LMP2 category. We saw them overall in the ELMS opening race of 2021 when their team's first ever prototype outing was a win. It took me by surprise, and it won a lot of fans, including me. I am a huge fan of WRT because I've seen them before racing. They're very passionate in their GT3 campaign. They're present in the Audis. The Audi is their supporting manufacturer. They were close to winning the Spot 24 Hours actually this year overall, but back to Le Mans, it was an outright dominating race for the team, no matter what car was in front. And unfortunately for the 41 car, they were a lap shy of a win before the power went out on that vehicle, which resulted in what almost was a battle for second, turned into a battle for first, and giving the car from car number 41 to number 31, finishing 6th place in the overall standings, and first in class was the number 31 Team WRT Orca 07 with Robin Freins, Ferdinand von Habsburg, and last name correct, and Charles Melisse.
Yep, it was a good run for that 31 entry.
Jota wish they had another lap, I'm sure.
But solid lineup of drivers. I've seen Habsburg run in different cars. Robin Freins, he's a Formula E driver. Charles Melisse recently, he was a he ran in the Super Formula Series before. But
popular win for many.
Yeah, and Charles Malisi, he's a French driver.
That's too.
So really good. Yep.
Second in class in Jota, like I said, they wish they had another lap.
Number 28. Yeah, the 28.
Great lineup, though. Sean Galil, Tom Blomqvist, Phil Van Dorn. They had a lot of success in the Asian Le Mans series.
Yep, they
early
did.
in the year.
Oh, they really did good in the Asian Le Mans series. They were one of the
second in class. The only two cars to share the same lap in class. Third place, one lap behind them.
65.
Honey Racing with the McDonald's Orca 07.
Yep.
Julian Cadell, James Allen, and Will Stevens. Very well-respected and experienced drivers.
Yeah, especially Will Stevens. If people don't remember, he ran. Yep, he ran firstly for the final race for Caterham, which one of the worst F1 teams ever. Or no, that's HRT. Sorry, HRT fans. No, there's no fans that were fans of HRT. Other than that, yeah, but good win, not win, good podium.
The podium. I don't think anyone should really be surprised by that, but except they're the number one common selection for LMP2 teams.
But good podium for the number 65.
Let's go on down the board for LMP2. Number 23, United Autosports. We saw great runs by the whole LMP2 program last year. This year, it just seemed like they could not have any sort of luck, but a fifth-place effort in class was the best they got with an all-British lineup for this British team. We had Wayne Boyd, Paul Di Resta, Alex Lynn, completing 361 laps, finishing 9th overall. 10th place overall, 7th or 6th in class, sixth in class was the number 34 inter-Eurobal competition, Orca 07, the Polish team. Jacob Smichkowski, Ranger van der Zand, and Alex Brundle completed 360 laps. Then how about IDEX Sport? A good way to cap off a rough weekend.
Yeah, their first entry, the 17, pulling out. Yeah, they focused on their number 48 entry.
Patrick Pilet, veteran drivers, mostly known for his time with Porsche in the GT ranks. Paul Lafargue and Paul Lupchetin.
Yep, they really did good. I know they had rough issues, but still, at least they finished the race.
G-Drive Racing, they had their struggles, but they managed to get 7th in class, coming home 12th overall. With Roman Rusinov, Nick DeVries, and Franco Colapinto. Keep an eye on Franco Colapinto. He's a very fast driver.
Yeah.
What I know, he's either 18 or about to be 18. He's so young. He's got, caught my attention in the Asian Le Mans series this year when he drove with them. He's just a fast driver, and he's another Argentine, just like José María López. Jota Sport, number 38.
He's 18. He turned 18 in May. He's born in 2003. Wow, he's so. I just realized he's younger than me. I'm turning 19. He turned 18 this year. I'm turning 19. So he's younger than me, and he's really doing well.
He's good.
Yep.
Jota Sport number 38, Orco 7. I thought these guys were going to be very active in terms of competing for this class win with Antonio Felix da Costa, Anthony Davis, and Roberto Gonzalez. 3 stellar drivers. They had problems.
But also they started first in class. They were the pole-sitting car in the class.
Mm-hmm.
It's not it proved
another reminder that this race does last 24 hours.
It's like the number, if people don't remember, the 72. They spun early. The 72, who saw him pull in the LMGT Pro class. That 72 car that was on pole spun with another car. It's 24 hours. So leading, except the 7 car who saw on pole, they're the only car that they won.
Let's move down the list. How about Duquesne team? Yes, Duquesne does have a team in LMP2, obviously not with their own manufacturer.
Yeah.
But maybe in the future because they have an LMP3 manufacturer.
Yeah, number 30.
Renee Binder, Tristan Gomini, and Mabel Rojas.
Number
7. Okay, now we reached 9th in class, which is for the first time in the LMP 2 Pro-Am trophy goes to the number 21 Dragon Speed Orca 07, finishing 15th overall, with drivers Ben Hanley, Henrik Hedman, and Juan Pablo Montoya completing 356 laps. And it wasn't that far. They weren't that far away from having that honor stolen by the 29 car.
Yep, but also another car but the car that finished behind them was the number 70, Real Team Racing. Remember the Real Team Racing entry, number 70? They were there.
Part of the fight too.
But also, people were wondering, oh, did Montoya get the Triple Crown? No. The reason
overall, you'll get it.
Yeah, that he did it in the Lmgte class. He needs to win base will be in the hypercar. Like you got to win overall to.
I bet you as the team's increasing. Let me go, before we go on to the other classes. I want to talk about the 41 team, because we did mention that they had the misfortunes, but the drivers behind the car had an absolutely great turning point into this entrance into Le Mans with how well they've done in the European Le Mans series. These drivers for the Team WRT 41 car, Orca 7, Yifei, Robert Kubica, Louis Deltraz. Perfect lineup, and I know it's bittersweet to see a 1-2 go away, but at least they had the other car win. It was just being one lap so shy. Louis Deltraz, superb driver.
In F2. I've seen him race Formula 2.
Grand Prix winner.
Yep. He got the last point for Williams before Williams got double points in 2021. Remember the 1 point in 2019?
Yes, Justin.
But do you want to know what else Robert Kubica would have been if he remember his injury in 2011? Do you want to know what he was signed for 2012? Do you want to know what do you want to know what team he was signed for F1 in 2012?
Which team?
Ferrari. He was signed, but his injury. Oh, that would have been
interesting. It almost took his life and his career.
Yeah.
But a great effort for them. And let's move on to the GT classes now. We're going to start with the Lmgte Pro class. We'll talk about what Le Mans racing might look like in the future after we go through these results. But the Lmgte class, the Pro class, was an interesting showing. There were eight cars, 6 were classified towards the end, finishing 20th overall and completing 345 laps. To win this category was the number 51 AF Corsa Ferrari 488 GTE Evo with Alessandro Pierguidi, Kamui Kobayashi, and James Collado. For Pierguidi and Kobayashi and Ferrari, another successful endurance race. Those two drivers with Ferrari won the Spa 24 Hours outright.
Yeah, but
under the Iron Lynx car. Now, of course, it wasn't that race, but they didn't have the same success.
But still, good one for the AF Corsa number 51. They just had a good car.
They were just class of the field.
But they also kind of
it wasn't easy though. They didn't have a lap by themselves in the victory.
But they escaped melee from the first lap when the what car was it? The 72, the Habato Racing entry got spun. But yeah, so good win for the number 51. And who got second in that class?
Yeah, I'm surprised they even managed to stay on that lead lap as the 51, how well they've been doing. It was a 63 Corvette Racing Chevrolet Corvette C8R. In fact, it's their first Le Mans with the C8R because last year they had to pull out with the COVID and the business issues.
Yeah,
but nice to see them back. They finished 21st overall, second in class with Nicky Katzberg, Antonio Garcia, Jordan Taylor. That's the same lineup that won in class in the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona.
Yeah, except their number was 3, but because there's already
same car, same entry.
Yeah, it's just they added number 6.
They came prepared.
Oh yeah, they did.
You know who was a little bit better? AF Corsa.
Yeah, AF Corsa, Ferrari, they were just better in that race. Who got third? Who got the podium?
Yeah, Porsche had some problems in this race, and the factory Porsches came on third and fourth. Third place on the class podium, 22nd overall with 344 laps complete. A lap behind the class winning car was the 92 Porsche GT team, Porsche 911 RSR19. Kevin Estra, Neil Johnny, and Michael Christensen were behind the wheel of that entry.
Yeah, so good podium for a Porsche. And then fourth was the other Porsche 91. They had at one point no bumper. They had damage and
Brake
different
problems.
issues. Oh, that 91.
He escaped some problems in that event too.
Yeah.
Richard Leeds, Jimmy Bruni, good lineup, but just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, that car just had issues. And after them,
LMGT Pro, fourth in class was the 52 or fifth in class. I mean, it's 52 AF Corsa Ferrari 488 GT Evo. Sam Bird, Miguel Molina, and Daniel Serra. I thought, I mean, they spent some time. I think they spent time in the garage area, but
but then
331 laps and 37th overall.
But then it was the pole setting car from that class. Oh, racing. Corvette. Then the 72s after them, but the 64
so the last
Corvette
classified car. Now that car is driven by Nick Tandy, Alexander Sims, Tommy Milner. I think they were the last to be classified overall in the race, 44th overall.
Yeah.
Now, 5th and 6th in the class. There were actually 2 customer teams that were in Porsches.
Oh,
the 72 car, how about Porsche, Chinese Taipei?
They saw on pole.
A lot of speed. Drew Stantor.
He put that car on.
Maxime Martin.
Yeah, that 72 started on pole in class, ended up getting spun by a Porsche.
They completed 227 laps before calling it a race.
But last place in the class, WeatherTech number 79. My pick decided to
the car that won in class for the Stephen 12 hours. Remember, this car's from Proton Competition.
Yep.
Cooper McNeil, Earl Bammer, Lawrence Vantour. We know the combination between Bammer and Vantour proved to be very, very competitive, especially looking back at races like the Spa 24 Hours from last year and others. Crash damage took them out, so they finished 50th overall. And those were your 8 cars in the LMGT Pro class. I mean, a lot of people will say, hey, what if, Aston Martin still invested in that category? Who knows? Maybe they would have had some sort of say. But still, it was a competitive race. Now, let's move on to the privateer centered GT class, the LMGT AM class. And once again, AF Corsa, they got a lot of celebrating. Celebrating this time. This car was unstoppable towards the second half of this race. The 83 AF Corsa Ferrari 488 GT Evo, they finished 25th overall, first in class on a lap of their own. Lap 340 was when they crossed the line.
Yep.
Nicholas Nielsen, Francois Parado, a businessman turned race car driver. Nicholas Nielsen from Denmark, and Alessio Rovera from Italy.
Oh, yep. Good lineup. They are really strong. That 83, if you see them in WC, they're going to be a contender for a class win.
Second place, saw a lot of presence from Aston Martin's privateer teams. TF Sport, number 33, 26 overall.
Yep.
Second in the class.
Solid
run. Vantage AMR. We had Ben Keating, Dylan Pereira, and Felipe Fraga.
Yeah, solid
behind the class winner. They tried everything, but it just...
But solid lineup. Really solid lineup for those 3. And then third was the number 95.
Actually 80.
Oh, you said there was enough. Oh, I thought you said there was 2 Aston Martins behind.
Oh, we're talking about third class. We'll get to those Aston Martins.
But you
third
said
class was the number 80.
Yeah,
Motorsport with the Ferrari 488 GT Evo. Now remember, they have a lot of investment in Ferrari. Some good entries, but third in class for Calmai, Reno Mastronardi, and Matteo Cressoni. We know that Matteo Cressoni and Reno Mastronardi, they've worked together many times before in the Ferraris.
Yeah.
They were actually 1 lap behind second in class and 2 laps behind the class winner, finishing 27th overall on lap 338. So fourth in class was another Iron Lynx Ferrari, finishing 30th overall, car number 60, Rafael Giamarino, Paolo Roberti, and Claudio Schiavone.
Yep.
Lap 335. Fifth in class, now Porsche. I think Porsche was probably in the, if you look at, who's winners versus losers, Porsche might have fall into losers. Unfortunately, not I have anything against them. I don't, but like they just didn't have the best going.
Well, one of the Porsches did start on the pole.
But I think, you usually see in the GTM class that they usually pull through. But this is the highest Porsche in this class. It was the 77 Dempsey Proton Racing car with the Porsche 911 RSR 19. Lap 335, they were close to reaching fourth in class, but it wasn't meant to be because by that time, cars were pretty much doing the slow parade to the line, and they were far behind. Matthew Campbell, Jackson Evans, Christian Reed, those are all Porsche factory drivers.
And also, I just realized, that car, the 77, their sister car, the 88, actually scored pole position in that class somehow. But yeah, they were close. They tried everything.
Right. Going down the list, the 777 car, D-Station Racing.
Aston. Yep.
Aston Vintage Amar with Tomonobu Fuji, Toshi Hoshino, and Andrew Watson finishing sixth in class, completing 333 laps. See, like I said, the Aston Martin presence were pretty strong.
Yep.
There's another Porsche. Seventh in class was the number 18.
Absolute Racing
Porsche with Andrew Harriento, Alessio Picarello, and Marco Seifried. Lap 332, 34th overall. Now, that was the TF Sport car you were looking for.
Yeah. A 95.
There's Ross Gunn, factory driver. Ollie Hancock, John Hartstrom.
Yeah, solid lineup.
Ninth place in class was number 85, Iron Lynx Ferrari 488 GT Evo, lap 332. Sarah Bodie, Ryan Frey, Michelle Gatting.
Yeah, that's my pick. That was my pick.
Give a call to these guys. 10th place in class. Number 69, Herbert Motorsport Porsche.
Yeah.
RSR 19. Ralph Bone, Robert Renauer, Rolf Eineken.
Yep.
A top 10 in class in their debut race for a team that focuses on the 24H series and made a try at the Asian Le Mans Series. They were really to Le Mans through winning a championship.
Yeah,
and ALMS. That's incredible.
I remember you wondered who got the title. It was them. They got the title.
Mm-hmm.
Those three plus Alfred. They got the title in there to get here, and they got 10th in the class, which is impressive for their first time at Le Mans.
This is like we're going from GT3s, and they're not even factory supported. We see them go through a few manufacturers. Most of Porsche, they tried Ferrari for one race this year.
I remember. Series. Yeah, but still interesting.
They made the effort to save up money, get themselves an Lmgte, and go to this event. I mean, I thought that we would be talking about maybe a team like GPX Racing, which we've seen them race in SRO.
Yeah, but
they didn't have the fundings.
But Herbert Motorsport made it to Le Mans and got a top 10 in class. Impressive.
Absolutely. They should definitely be proud of that. Other to notice, the innovative car class was
only one car, 84.
The 32nd place finisher overall. Association SRT 41. This is an entry that runs an Orca 07 and has 3 paraplegic drivers in that car. That was actually put together by a former driver, Matthew Leahy, Nigel Bailey, Takuma Aoki completed 334 laps.
Yeah,
to run that event.
Yeah, but for them it was more interesting because they like for them they had to pull in the garage because they're all wheelchairs. So they put the car in the garage. They did all that, but then they would take their tires after, like later on, they would take their tires and fuel. But I know it's an LMP2 car, but it's good for drivers that are not like normal drivers, like they can use.
It's a great demonstration for drivers, who may not be able-bodied, that they can still have a way in this kind of racing. So,
like,
showing for them.
It's like remember Alex Zanardi?
Alex Zanardi, he's raced with prosthetics and with hand controls.
Remember the hand controls he used in the 2019 Rolex 24?
A factory BMW.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, it's good for drivers that want to race, but that's good they did a car like that for drivers that want to race.
Some other drivers like Manuel Carrera.
You also have there was Billy Munger. He got
Billy Munger.
Yeah, who he hit both his legs were
Robert Kubica's hand was by that accident in 2011, and he's still the hand injury. That was almost permanent on him. But let's talk about some other things we want to know. So Team WRT's win might be a little more significant because we know that I think it's 2023 Audi is going to come back to compete for the overall Le Mans wins.
Yep.
They have really run Audis almost the entirety of their GT presence. Team WRT.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, in LMP2, you're pretty much limited to Orica. We've seen Lmgte. The Aurora 01 is a rebranded Orica 07 by G-Drive Racing, which is Aurora, a Russian car brand.
Yeah.
But if the main presence for Audi gets selected to be Team WRT by Audi Sport, like Audi Sport WRT, then I'll be really happy. I think it's going to be a perfect combination.
Yeah. Oh wow, Jaguars are not doing good. They're losing 7-0. I expect that from Jacksonville. Not good. Well, it's better than what the Eagles did by losing 35-0 against the Patriots the other day. That was just sad for the Eagles. But other than that, Le Mans was a good race. Good battles around the whole track.
Yeah, absolutely. And now let's talk about the future of this race, because we now understand where the direction that the ACO, the FIA will take for the 24 hours of Le Mans in the future. First and foremost, we probably know for the longest, all of us know that the hydrogen powered initiative to get a hydrogen powered car to race Le Mans has even risen to the point where we're going to see hydrogen powered cars compete for overall Le Mans wins. We're going to see that for the first time by 2025.
Ooh.
I was listening to the Radio Le Mans broadcast during the race, and because I like to hear, they usually give a few spoilers about the future of this kind of racing.
Yeah.
And I heard from one of the commentators that there should be about 2 to 3 brands that are already signing up for putting a hydro-powered car together for an overall Le Mans win campaign in the year 2025.
Wow.
One of the brands are coming from Japan, and others coming from the United States.
Okay.
They're from unknown territory, but there are manufacturers who want to do this.
Yeah, 2025 is in 4 years from now. We're in 2021. If people forgot what year we were in, but I know people think it's probably still 2020. But yeah, only a few years from now we'll be in 2025.
Right. Also, in addition to that, we already know, of course, that there'll be some added presence in the hypercar class next year, and that we'll see the debut of the LMDH class, which will be racing for overall wins in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, which include racing in the 24 hours of Daytona and the 12 hours of Sebring, the endurance racing Triple Crown, and the 24 hours of Le Mans. So they'll be allowed in the World Endurance Championship competing for overall wins. Now, I think they'll be put in with the hypercars on the hypercar class, the same car bodies, or maybe a class of their own. But regardless, they'll be able to compete neck and neck for these overall wins in what is known as class convergence. So the DPI class in the United States, Daytona Prototype International, will be phased out by 2023. We still have another full year till then. Also, what we didn't know last week, but we now know, is the future of LMGTE cars. And that has been definitely a big question in the air, because the LMGTE classes have really been dependent on factory support. We have seen a recent decrease in factory support over the years. I'll give you an example. Even last year, I think the class winning car in GT Pro was a factory-backed Aston Martin. Now, I know they went on to win the World GT championship
Yeah.
endurance last year, but they pulled out and only left the Lmgte AM class with one factory car.
Yeah, the number 98 entry.
Here's the thing: is that they removed a lot of presence from the scenes. Also, 2 years ago, Ford announced they left. Ford left their presence in the Lmgte categories. BMW has definitely scaled back at their Lmgte categories. They're probably the only Lmgte brand not to compete in Le Mans in the last 2 years.
Yeah, remember they had the BMW Team M-Tech entries? Remember those big cars? But remember people comparing them?
Big BMW meme?
Oh my God. Yeah,
those got out of hand in 2018.
I just remember compared to the LMP ones and LMP2s, you just see them.
Here's the wide M8 coming from behind.
It's just but there's been shorter fields in these recent times because
especially in the pro class, and this is gonna
the pro class.
Now what we knew going into the weekend. Actually, it was announced. Usually, these big announcements are typically made by the sanctioning bodies like IMSA, the WEC, ACO, FIA. On the weeks of the big races, we will see the announcements being made for what the future will hold. Yeah. We knew already in January that IMSA will remove LMGTE cars next year and basically make split the GTE categories in two with the GT Daytona Pro and AM by next year. And that left a lot of question marks in what's that going to mean? Because now you can't have the same lineups compete in the same cars for Le Mans in January anymore.
Yeah.
And then that leads me to my next statement is that they announced this past week, this weekend leading up to the 24 Hours of Le Mans, that by 2024, LMGTE cars will be phased out by FIA Group GT3. And that means that GT3s will be able to compete in the 24 Hours of Le Mans with a few changes. They said that there'll be some configuration changes and DOP rules that will switch around. That's nothing new. But it means that this is going to open the door for a lot of teams. Because what is the biggest thing with LMGTEs? It starts with A. Or not LMGTEs, GT3s. Accessibility. Yeah. There are so many levels of GT3 racing going around the globe as we speak. Whether it's sprint racing or endurance racing, a lot of the times, the Nürburgring 24 hours, Spa 24 hours. Dubai, they compete for the overall win GT3 cars. And of course, as we learned in the States, the GT3s compete with GTEs and in the prototypes. So it kind of can work. I mean, even throwing in the LMP3 over there in the States, I don't know if they kind of I don't think they kind of want to see that in Le Mans. I mean, I don't know if the LMP3s would be good with the other cars. Usually that's for more amateur level drivers. But here's the next case. And I might be surprised, and I won't be surprised at the same time if they change this, is that the ACO and FIA announced that there will likely not be a Pro and AM class for the GT3s. And there might be some pushback from teams like Corvette Racing, which even with the removal of LMGTE from IMSA, that has received pushback from Corvette. Because the C8R, they spent years putting that together, that race car together. And now all of a sudden it cannot race it at home in the States anymore. And on another level, what about the pro drivers that want to race against the pros? If they can't do it in GT3s, then where can they? I mean, that's going to pose an issue. When I was making this prediction of what the announcement was going to be like for GT racing in the future, I thought that they would remove the LMGTE Pro and AM class and make it just one class and leave the pros up to racing, and whoever else wants to join them gets to join them. And then the influx of GT3s would be in there centered towards a Pro AM or AM level. Do you think that rule might change between now and 2024 for eligibility?
I don't know.
I know there's going to be some pushback. Also, there's a rumor out there. I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but fully factory supported GT3 brands cannot have their own teams for the 24 Hours of Le Mans or the WEC events entirely. They must go through, what do you call them? Customer-based teams.
Oh, that's interesting.
We know that's where Corvette might also respond in some pushback.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of time. I mean, we don't even know what it's going to look like. But think about all the brands that could come in now that we have GT3s. We can see Lamborghinis. I mean, obviously, we know Porsche, Ferrari, Aston Martin. And yes, Corvette does have a GT3, but I think it's still under the C7R from Callaway, a GM-related sports car brand in Europe. They put the Corvette GT3s together. But we can see an influx and maybe even some older cars like the Viper might come back. We know we see a lot of presence of the Viper at Dubai and Nürburgring. Remember that lime color Viper. We might see Nissan bringing more presence again in the GT, Nissan GTR, Nismo GT3. What about Renault? They do have a car that's capable of running that class.
Yeah.
Lexus, Toyota, Supra, RC. McLaren. How about McLaren? Remember Inception Racing? They had to run a different car because they got in through racing a McLaren GT3.
Yeah.
Audi. Big time Audi. We could go on and on about this. But long story short, there is a greater future for some of these GT teams. But I think what matters, or what might matter the most, is how it's done, how they sanction this, how they give out the rules. Still have 3 years till then, and I do say that I will definitely miss those GT2 cars, formerly known as GT2s, the Lmgtes. I mean, I know that GT1s, that was the time that came and went, but the GT2 cars, they certainly have provided some great racing. And then last but not least, let's talk about next year's World Endurance Championship has been announced.
Yep, season is scheduled. Yep, this season, next season, the prologue.
More about it.
Yeah, the prologue usually it's held recently. It's been held at Spa. This year it's held at Sebring because the first round of the WEC Championship is the 1,000 miles of Sebring, which last ran back in 2019 was the last running of it. 2020, you know why, COVID-19, and 2020, COVID-19.
Travel.
2021, yeah. Last 2 years. But 2022, that's the first race of the schedule. Then they go round number 2. Jeez. I've got to search.
Well, Justin's looking up for round 2.
Oh, found it. Okay, round 2 is the 6 hours of Spa in May. Round 3 is the Le Mans 24 hours is the third round of the season.
Round announced.
Yep, the 11th. Yep. Then in July 10th, 2022, it's the 6 hours of Monza. Then they wait. Then 2 months later, 2 months after Italy, they go to the 6 hours of Fuji on September 11th. And then literally 2 months later, 2 months after Fuji, the finale at the 8 hours of Bahrain on November 12th. So after Le Mans, they have a month. And then after Fuji, Italy, 2 months till they race at...
No Silverstone.
No, Silverstone is off the calendar this year. So they have Sebring March 18th, May 7th at Spa, June 11th, 12th Le Mans, July 10th at Monza, September 11th at Fuji, and November 12th at Bahrain. That's the season. 6 races, plus the prologue the week before
we learned
at
that,
Sebring.
of course, on the same weekend as the 12 hours of Sebring, that just like 2019, they will have a race of their own. See, unlike 2012, they raced with the then American Le Mans series, but those American Le Mans series entries that did not, make the rule requirements to run in the WEC, they did not score points. They were not eligible for the World Endurance Championship, if you remember that 2012 Sebring 12 hours. However, I have a good feeling that 2023 and beyond, I assume that we will finally get the 12 hours of Sebring back on the World Championship stage. And who knows if that means that we'll see the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona on or back on the World Sports Car Championship, or now known as the World Endurance Championships campaign, which I believe that might happen. The combo situation might work again. I think by 2024. I don't know if they want to count it as part of the World Endurance Championship, like count all the cars in the race.
Yeah.
They didn't do it in 2012. It was just the WEC cars counted towards the World Endurance Championship points. But I think we're going to have the separate race for one more year until 2023 when Lmgte comes around.
Yeah.
Or maybe 2024 when the GT3s are fully fledged into the World Endurance Championship.
Yeah.
Regardless, I'm glad to see them in the States, and that makes me as a fan I want to be there. You never know. It's a world stage, and that's cool. It's good. Next year's gonna be a good year for Florida racing fans. We get the 1,000 miles Sebring, the 12 hours Sebring, the Miami Grand Prix in Formula One.
Yeah. Oh, geez, already at an hour 51. Interesting. An hour 51 and 10 seconds already in the podcast. Almost 2 hours.
Wow. All right. So I think this was a good conversation for Le Mans, and now all the major sports car series championships can finally, proceed into the rest of the year.
Yep. WEC. They're not resuming for a while. Their next round is 2 races at Bahrain. Way far down the road.
We have the 6 hours of Bahrain.
Yeah.
Will be on the
November?
the 30th of October, and then a week following that will be the 8 hours of Bahrain to end the 2021 World Endurance Championship. Round 5 and then round 6 of the 6-race tour. All right. I mean, this was definitely a
what? Wait. Huh? Yeah, okay. They switched dates, yeah. So remember, October.
6 hours of Bahrain was supposed to be the Fuji 6 hours, but it had to be wiped off the schedule.
But that's going to be a while until, so we got 2 months. 2 months until that race happens.
No major endurance sports car race this weekend until next weekend. I know the 24H series finally comes back.
It's going to be... Yep, but we had other races.
Yes, and we did have some races in the regional American levels, of course, as part of the stock car series. Let's start off with the modifieds first. The Beach Ridge 200.
Yep,
and that was won by Ron Silk.
Yep, he led only 8 laps. He led
8 laps.
Yep, he passed a Polson car, Matt Hirschman, in the 60 car for the win.
He led 66 laps and finished.
No, actually, it's actually not right because they put 66, but I actually calculated the right amount of laps the other day. The amount of laps that he led was actually 129. I don't know why Racing Reference miscalculated that. So yeah, Hirschman led 129. Patrick Emmerling, who's second in points, finished third. Matt Swanson, Doug Coby led 6 laps, finished 5th. Anthony Nocella led 9 laps, finished 6th. Kyle Bonsinger 7. Justin Bonsinger led a lap, finished 8. Kyle Ebersol 9. JB Fortin rounded out the top 10. The other driver that led the laps, Woody Pitkat, 12th, led 47 laps.
It was a competitive race, though. We saw a lot of guys come and go.
Yep. The points, it's 8 points. Bonsinger 8 points ahead of Emmerling, but Ron Silk is pretty much out. He's 63 back in third. John McKennedy fourth, minus 65. Doug Coby 5th, minus 72. Kyle Bonsinger a 6th, minus 77. Eric Goodell 7th, minus 78. Woody Pitkat 8th, minus 80. Tommy Catalano is minus 91 in 9th. And then round out the top 10, Tyler Reipkema, minus 103.
The next race will be the Oswego 150 on September 4th, round 11 to 14. So, yeah, it is coming down pretty close to the end of this championship. And it's still very well up for grabs, especially in the top two. It'll be a great title fight to watch in the closing stage of this year's championship.
We had ARCA West, Irwindale.
Right. We'll start with ARCA.
But we had 2 ARCA races this weekend.
Yes, we're going to start off, with the Michigan 200. And then the Springfield, Illinois 100, which those were rounds 14 and 15. Remember, this is a 20-race championship.
So, Michigan is kind of easy. Ty Gibbs led 99 laps to win. The other lap was led by Corey Heim.
Yes, second place, Corey Heim. Third place, Nick Sanchez. Sam Mayer, 4th, and 5th place went to Kyle Sieg. A nice run for Kyle Sieg.
Well, Kyle Sieg remember Kyle Sieg's amazing save? Oh, my.
You can see his hands through outside the window. He really did a great job catching that car.
But there was controversy after that race up. On first lap, Tad Moffitt got put in the wall by Drew Dollar. A few laps, like a dozen laps later, Tad Moffitt retaliated, dumped Drew Dollar, but sadly collected
it came with
Tim
a cost.
Richmond.
And this is where
Tim Richmond in the 27. Tim Richmond in the 27 got collected. Heavily damaged the
for a year.
Yeah, he got surgery. Getting surgery.
Mind you, this team is Alex Club's team. Yeah, it's a very it's financially dependent team.
Yeah,
they're
it's
not,
him and
not one of the best teams out there, but they come to the races just like many other teams do.
Yeah,
to make a living, and it's such an unfortunate sight to see this happen again. I don't want to go on and on about my rant. I think I had my Taylor Gray rant last week.
But Tim Richmond,
this is a problem where people are this is a super speedway, and we're seeing short track retaliation.
Yeah,
someone got hurt as a result.
Like Tim Richmond, the car was so damaged, the dash was up way higher than supposed to. The steering wheel was bent. It's kind of bad when you crash and your steering wheel is bent.
That's why you see sometimes a lot of open wheel seater races. You see a lot of the times the drivers will take their hands off the wheel just before impact if they see the wall coming. It's not worth it.
But
it's so unfortunate that Richmond is hurt because of this.
Yeah,
something that could have been avoided.
Yeah, his ankle, one of his ankles was crushed. So that's even
and his team that's owned by Alex Club Richmond, that doesn't have much of the resources. They lost a car because of it.
Yeah, like Alex Club and Tim Richmond.
All right, now let's talk about. Let's talk about the next race, though, because I don't
Well, the Springfield race was the Springfield race was Corey Heim. Corey Heim was fast.
Had 86 laps from the pole to win this one.
Yep.
Maybe his pavement short track racing did translate into some dirt track success, I'd say. We didn't have the big presence, but we certainly had a good outing for Corey Heim and Ty Gibbs. He did what he could, but second place was the end result. Taylor Gray finished third. Fourth place went to Justin Allgaier. How about the hometown driver, Justin Allgaier?
Drawing for.
Okay, homage to your first start, right? He was 16 years old, barely 16 and eligible. And at that time, it was still kind of unheard of to see someone as a teenager race in that level.
Yeah, he drove for
early 2000s.
Yeah, he drove for Kelly Kofsky's team. The number 16 entry, so good to see a return for
Justin. He won his 2008 championship with.
Yep, good one for Justin Allgaier. Not win, but
3 laps to finish 5th.
Yeah, driving the 15.
Well, let's look at the championship. We had 2 races down, and now we have 5 races to go in this points battle, and it gets even trickier from here for these 2 drivers. Obviously, it's now narrowed down to 2 drivers because Tad Moffitt sat out the last race. That takes him out of the hunt for sure. 720 points for Ty Gibbs.
Actually updated now. I actually have the real points.
Here it is. Yeah.
762 to
So
761. Close. So Ty Gibbs leads the points by 1 over Corey Haim, who has 761. But because of Tad Moffitt sitting out, he is third, minus 151. Nick Sanchez fourth, minus 169. Brad Smith fifth, minus 345. Then you got Drew Dollar with minus 395, DL Wilson minus 423, Kyle Sieg minus 436, Taylor Gray minus 487, and 10th place Tim Richmond minus 509. Heading next race is Milwaukee on Sunday. 53. Yeah.
Yes,
next
race, is that part of the East Series Championship?
Yep, ARCA East, ARCA Combo, and Milwaukee.
And Bristol for the last 2 races for the East Championship.
Yep, Sunday.
Milwaukee Mile, that's a classic track.
Yep, that race is going to be Sunday afternoon. Sunday afternoon race on Milwaukee, so going to be interesting to see how that's going to go. 1 point between Ty Gibbs and Corey Haim.
So close. These two guys are definitely the future of the sport. I'm excited. Every time I watch them on track, it never fails to be entertaining. Some great clean racing too. Let's move on to the West Coast because the second half of the West Series Championship began on Saturday night at Irwindale Speedway, and last year's champion Jesse Love took the win in his Bill McAnally Racing Toyota.
Yep.
He led 66 laps in this race and really made it. He put himself in a different planet for this one, much like we've seen from him last year in his title fight.
Yeah.
And Jesse Love did a spectacular job at Irwindale. And we had a 19-car race, so it's not too bad for recent standards. But Jake Drew in the Bob Brancati Sunrise Ford finished second. Pa Pedroncelli Jr. started on pole and finished third in his family team, and we're seeing a lot of good stuff from him too. Get used to that name. He's racing with his father as well. Joey East, 4th place, started 4th, finished 4th, and Ryan Partridge rounded out the top 5 of West Coast veteran.
Yeah, he replaced Dean Thompson, who COVID-19 protocols. So Ryan Partridge drove the Brancati 51 entry, but good run for Ryan Partridge in his return to the series.
Let's take a look at the championship now that we have our first race in the second half in the books. It's Jesse Love in the championship. He's got 201 points. That's an 11-point advantage over his teammate Cole Moore.
Yep.
190 points for Moore.
Yep.
3rd and 4th place, we have a tie with 187 points, just 14 points behind Jake Drew and Todd Souza.
Yep.
Ford and a Toyota.
Yep.
And Paul Pedroncelli Jr. rounded up the top 5 with 181 points.
Yep. Their next race is the Portland 100 on September 11th. Yep. September 11th, their next race.
That's part of the IndyCar weekend, I believe.
Yep, it is. It's September 11th, the day before the race on the 12th. So, the Saturday before the race, the day before, the Portland 100.
That's a road course.
Yep.
It might be a different feel compared to Sonoma. Obviously, not just because of the track layout, but also that we have less presence from outside the series that are likely going to be in the race.
But, so... that's going to be interesting. So they get 2 weeks. ARCA West is off for 2 weeks. They'll be back September 11th.
4 races left.
Yep, that championship is close too. Like, we have the main ARCA title. ARCA East also. I know ARCA East is not running. They're running at Milwaukee, but that championship's getting close too. So these ARCA titles are just so close this season.
And a lot of the teams from the higher end, the top 3 touring series, especially the factory supporting groups that sign these drivers, they have their eyes on these ARCA series. And that's why you can see a lot of these drivers want to make a name for themselves, and it makes for some good racing.
Yep. So
let's take a look at what we have. We have 2 races in the NASCAR books. We're going to have a lot of talk about the upcoming Coke Zero 400 at Daytona International Speedway. The Classic 400-mile showcase at Daytona will decide our 16-driver championship playoff. And then the NASCAR Xfinity Series will have their race too. So to support the event, 250-mile race at Daytona. And then the Belgian Grand Prix. So Formula One will be back from their summer break to continue on with this World Championship at one of their most classic venues. Talk about a classic weekend with some great racing facilities.
Yeah.
So let's begin with the Daytona 400-mile race, the Coke Zero Sugar 400.
Yeah,
it's actually been sponsored by Coke Zero since 2008. Remember, Pepsi used to sponsor this race for quite some time.
Yeah, after Pepsi left, that's when they swapped to Coke Zero. But
commonly no name, up until 2020, it was known as the Firecracker 500, as it shared the weekend as the 4th of July. Traditionally, you'd see some presidential visits, a fireworks display by one of some of the best Southeastern United States fireworks brands. I forgot the name of them after the race. A lot of patriotism. Usually that's what people kind of associate the race with, and some of which, like myself, do want to see it back on the schedule. Maybe we'll see in the future. If Road America can hold a crowd like that on a different weekend, that would be golden.
But you never know about also weather in July. Like Daytona, there could be weather. Like it's summertime, there's always
even this year.
Like we have a chance of rain this year. Even when it was in July, we always had chance of rain. And I don't know.
As a Floridian, I would be 75% confident that we do not have any named storms trying to disrupt the NASCAR stuff.
Are you sure? What happens if there's one that
never know, and that's why I'm kind of holding myself back when I say that.
But also, Joseph, I don't know why it's called the Sunshine State, and sometimes it's just raining.
Because sometimes names are misleading. Let's go on and let's talk about the history of this race. So the Daytona 400, obviously, it's around 26 to 36, the final race of this regular season. Last year, William Byron was the winner of the event. Last year's race was the first race, aside from 1998's postponement, to be held outside of the 4th of July weekend. This time, it was actually the first race for it to be a fixture, already planned not to be on that weekend, because the wildfires had to push the 1998 date back or ahead in October. First race was held in 1959, and Fireball Roberts took the win. He really took advantage of this race when it had only 250 miles compared to the first 400-mile race in 1963, which that race he won. Now, which drivers have the best success in the 400-mile race at Daytona? David Pearson. 5 times he has won this event, more than any other driver. From 1961, 72, 73, 74, he won 3 in a row, and then won in 1978. Cale Yarbrough and Tony Stewart share 4 wins apiece for this event. Fireball Roberts, 3 times winner as well. Richard Petty, Bobby Allison, Jeff Gordon, 3-time winners in the 400-mile race at Daytona. And these drivers have 2 wins at the Daytona 400. Yes, AJ Foyt won this race back-to-back, 64 and 65. And then, of course, later on, he would win a 500. Bill Elliott, twice a winner. Dale Earnhardt, twice a winner. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., twice a winner, which included the very first race at Daytona International Speedway since the tragic death of his father. A very memorable and emotional win, to say the least. It feels like a movie when you look back at it. So your drivers, right? Now, in terms of team wins, if you're a Matt DiBenedetto fan, this could be a race you might want to watch, because Wood Brothers Racing this list of most team wins with 9 wins. 9 times they have won the Firecracker Daytona 400-mile race. Their last, unfortunately, was in 1983. So it's not like they had recent success, though, but still pretty good. Hedrick Motorsports, 7 times a winner recently. William Byron, 2020. Roush Fenway Racing drivers will definitely be up for the running here. 5 times they've won this event. Joe Gibbs Racing won this event 4 times. 3-time winners for teams include Junior Johnson Associates, Richard Childress Racing, and Petty Enterprises / Richard Petty Motorsports. As for the teams that have 2 wins, a lot of teams that are here that are not here anymore. Banjo Matthews, Ray Nichols, Dygaard Motorsports, Melling Racing, Robert Yates Racing, Morgan McClure Motorsports, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, and Stuart Haas Racing. So this is the most interesting part in terms of the wins list and records for the 400-mile race at Daytona is how the manufacturers stand in the history of this event. Last year, Chevrolet beat Ford in most wins by a manufacturer in this event with 20 when William Byron won. Ford has 19 wins, but they have not won this event since 2017.
Oh.
Now, brands that are no longer in the sport include Mercury, 7 wins. So, hey, 19 plus 7 for 4 wins. Dodge, they won this race 5 times in the past when they were in the sport. Pontiac 5 times as well. Buick 4 times and Toyota 2 times, both coming from Joe Gibbs Racing drivers. So, but here's the thing with this race, and the entry list is pretty much the same with the exception of Castle and a few other workwear drivers. So I kind of have a good scope of what to expect in this event. We're going to split these predictions in halves, Justin. Now let me explain. I'm going to start with prediction to win, and then prediction to win that is not a playoff driver. And along with that question, I'm going to ask which Richard Childress Racing driver, because it's only going to be those two, will point their way in.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with winners that a winner of the race who is not locked in. Who not locked in the playoffs because there's only Tyler Reddick down there. Everybody else will win this race.
Win this race? I'm not. What happens if I don't pick them to win the race?
Well, I'm going to ask you for non-locked-in drivers that will win, and then locked-in drivers / anybody who's not eligible that could win.
Well, for me, not locked in would be Tyler Reddick. Yeah.
I mean, last year he was right there in the hunt before that crash.
Yeah.
And now, who that has already locked in to the playoffs and or is not eligible to make the playoffs, do you think will win this race on Saturday?
Okay, my actual race pick is somebody that's not eligible for the playoffs.
I know where you're going here.
I'm going to read his stats. He only has 1 start here. He has 1 start. He has 1 start, but he didn't finish too well because of his car. Decided not to make him finish. He finished he led 10 laps and finished 28th. My pick, this driver, he's ran a few races. I think he has 3 starts. This driver, he won here in the Truck Series. Driver of the number 16, Kaz Grala is going to get career win number 1 at Daytona in the Colleague Racing Chevy.
That would be something bizarre. Now, with that question, because I asked you also, which one of the 2 Richard Childress drivers will successfully point into the playoffs?
I say Tyler Reddick. He's good at plate tracks. I feel like Tyler Reddick's going to keep the pressure down, and he's going to point his way into the playoffs.
It's going to be interesting and intense for sure. You know, this sometimes does turn into the Hunger Games of motorsports from what I've seen. Yeah. But, all right, I'm going to make my version of these picks. So, for a driver who is able to make the playoffs, but that is not locked in, that I see that could win this race, and it would be a popular one for sure. Absolutely a popular one.
What?
I see Daniel Suarez winning the Coke 0400 at Daytona. Trackhouse Racing. He's got a fast car. We saw him in the duels. It's too bad it didn't last long in the 500 because of the big one. But Daniel Suarez for Trackhouse Racing. Boy, what a story that could be. That would be a big story. Now, for a driver that is already either in the playoffs and not going to affect the bubble by winning this race, I have for this event. This will also be a popular win. Chase Elliott will take the checkered flag at Daytona International Speedway and win the Coke 0400.
Okay, that's interesting.
Now, who's going to point into the playoffs between the 2 RCR drivers? Tyler Reddick will. I mean, 25 points is not that much, but I think with stage points, he does seem to have the better end of the stick compared to Austin Dillon in receiving stage points. So there's that. Regardless, it's going to be a very emotionally filled night of racing, some big crashes. Unfortunately, this is one of those races where people watch for the crashes, which it's unfortunate that there is a population for that, but that does get views.
But we know there's going to be crashes because it's the final race before. It's the playoffs.
Looking at it last year, we had a good share of them.
Well, remember there was a crash with Reddick and Jimmy Johnson's crash because of Matt Kenseth getting into Hamlin, getting
nearly 4 wide at once going for the lead at Daytona, where 3 wide is difficult enough.
But we had also Ross Chastain getting lapped on the outside and almost crashing, which was interesting when he drove the 77 for Spire. But so.
All right, so there's that. Yep, and we'll get our 16-driver championship playoffs finalized with all the seedings after this race by the time we come back, and it should be a very interesting discussion following that event too. Now let's talk about the Xfinity Series race, the Daytona 250.
Wawa 250.
Yep. All right. Let's take a look at this. The history of this event. Now, unlike the Cup Series race, it used to be just a Daytona 300, the February race, until 2002 when it came back, or when it had the race debut, which was won by Joe Nemechek.
Yep.
Justin Haley won the race last year.
Yep.
Only one driver has won this race more than once. I'm not surprised by that, being Dale Earnhardt Jr. 3 times.
Yep.
Now, no team has ever exceeded 3 wins here, but the teams that have won 3 times include Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, Joe Gibbs Racing, and Richard Childress Racing, 2 of those teams that can break that record and make it 4. Yeah. However, there are 2 teams that can join that list: Junior Motorsports and Colleague Racing, and of course Biaggi Investi Racing. They have 2 wins as well under their independent team. Most make wins. Drive a Chevrolet and you'll win here. 13 times they've won. Toyota 3 times, Ford 2 times, once by Pontiac, which was the first race that was won by Joe Nemechek. One thing that I've noticed about this event is that even with the date change, we've still seen most of the repeat from last year.
Yep.
Stay out of trouble, stay with the pack, and you should be fine.
Yep.
Don't make a mistake entering the pits, leaving the pits, pit with the pack, those little things.
Don't speed down pit road. Don't lose the giraffe. Basically, don't
be behind an aerodynamically affected car,
Yeah.
They all have their components, and this is what makes Daytona interesting. And unlike the 300-mile race at Daytona, I forgot to say, unlike the Daytona 500, the track is completely different in terms of the conditions, with being summer and night.
Hotter conditions, and nighttime is way different than a bit cooler conditions and in the day. The race starts in the day for the spring, the race in February. Here it's nighttime on Friday
from start to finish.
Yeah, and it's hotter conditions in August than in February.
And it's a shorter race.
Yeah, but so the 120 lap, 300 mile distance, it's 100 laps, the length of the Truck Series event. 100 laps, 250 miles. So
that definitely poses a good fork in the road. Now, who's going to win this race? I mean, we still have 4 races left in this regular season, so
I got my pick.
It'll be up for grabs, and for some teams, it could be their last chance. Justin, who do you got for this one? I'll start with you.
Okay, my pick. This driver, he's ran 4 races total here. He has 0 wins, 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, 3 top 20s, 27 laps led. He has a surprising average finish of where is he? 7.8. His best finish is 3rd. His average finish is 13.75. Driver of the number 99, Chase Briscoe, is going to win at Daytona for BJ McLeod. Hey, he's going to have Stewart-Haas equipment. Hey, remember, he almost won Charlotte in that car. Remember, he spun out?
Right.
He was leading. If he can do that in that car, he's been close to win it. He finished 3rd. It's his best finish here. So I feel like he's going to take that 99 Ford to victory. That's going to be an interesting win, popular win.
A popular one, I'm sure, because BJ McLeod lives in Florida.
Yeah.
But he lives in the Panhandle.
Yeah. But still.
I'm sure he's got some supporters that will take a good lengthy drive, and it'll be worth coming for sure.
Who's your pick,
now,
Joseph?
I picked to win this race. Just looking back at the last 2 years, I don't think we'll see anything too different, except for this time, Justin Haley will win the Daytona 250
again.
For the second year in a row, absolutely, and maybe in his mind for the third time. Because if you go back a few years,
2018
DMS Racing, he crossed the line first, but NASCAR took the win after it was shown that he crossed the line, the yellow line.
Yeah, they gave it to Carl. Yep. They gave it to Larson.
It was a good pass, but it just wasn't leading.
But they gave it to Kyle Larson, but you know what's more embarrassing? Ian was mad because Sadler was the one on the outside. Yeah, right on the outside was Sadler.
The reaction video was kind of funny.
Yeah, Elliott Sadler was on the outside of Larson. Larson edged out Sadler.
But I think Justin Haley, he's a great plate racer. Just look at how he drives. He can master Daytona and Talladega.
Yeah. And
he's got to get it right because the Cup Series is around the corner, just around the corner for himself and the team. And I think they're definitely going to be prepared on that, and they'll need the work to get done. And it also goes with Casgrella in the Cup Series entry too.
Yeah, in the 16 car, he hopes to finish better than what happened at the first Daytona race when he caught on fire. But you did lead laps at the 500, so could lead laps again.
All right, let's move over to Formula One.
The
summer break is over.
Yep. We got the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa.
Such a great track. It's one of my favorites, circuit in Spa-Francorchamps. I mean, obviously, I had a dominating win once in 2003 online, and a mod that included 6 gears, and I did it on an H-Pilot 6 shift, like it should be done, because I have a little stance on why manual cars should not die. But where am I going with this? The Formula One, the Belgian Grand Prix, it's such a classic race in Spa-Francorchamps. I mean, it's round 12 right now. It's back to 22 races. We're in the second half, regardless of this World Championship. Summer break is over. These teams are going to be rested. The drivers are well rested.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to see more of that Hamilton-Verstappen saga continue.
Yep.
As Lewis Hamilton, he won the race last year. The
yep.
first race was held in the inaugural World Championship. Juan Manuel Fangio won that.
Yeah.
It's Michael Schumacher that owns the wins in
How
here.
many wins?
For this 6 times.
Yeah.
5 times Ayrton Senna was a winner at this Belgian Grand Prix. 4 times for these 3 drivers: Jim Clark, Kimi Räikkönen, Lewis Hamilton, including
Hamilton could tie Senna with 5. I just realized, yeah.
Juan Manuel Fangio, Damon Hill, 3 times a winner, as well as Sebastian Vettel. Forgot about Vettel. Yeah, 3 wins. Then Alberto Ascari, Emerson Fittipaldi, Niki Lauda, and Alain Prost, 2-time winners. Now for constructor wins, Ferrari fans, McLaren fans usually look forward to this race because Ferrari is victors here for 18 times, and McLaren is victors here for 14 times.
Yeah, 18
Lotus,
and 14.
When they were in the sport, 8 wins. Mercedes, 5 wins. Williams, 4 wins. Red Bull, 3 wins. Alfa Romeo and Benetton, 2 wins.
Interesting.
It's such a technical track.
But you also
it takes a lot of skill in driving and durability.
And also you need a good car. Like the straightaways, you want decent speed. So you obviously know Haas is not gonna win because
why are we going? Let's talk about that.
Well, well, I'm saying you need speed. Their car is the slowest car on the grid. They don't have points.
Alfa Romeo.
Well, Alfa Romeo at least has points. They have more speed than the Haas cars. So, like, you look You obviously look at the, qualifying results. It's always Mazepin 20th, Schumacher 19th. It's always those two on the bottom qualifying page. So you got to scroll all the way down for them.
Hamilton or Verstappen?
I say Hamilton. Mercedes are just strong. Like, this is one of Mercedes, best tracks. They're good. Oh, just the car handles better.
This would be his 100th win, his 100th Grand Prix win. That would be. But I mean, hey, it's a better place to do it here. I think it would be popular.
Well, hopefully there's no drivers that pulls a Roman Grosjean 2012. Remember the crash? Hopefully nobody pulls
up the entirety of the World Championship in 2012.
But hopefully nobody pulls a pass from Maldonado, jumping the lights. Well, do you know what happened in that? Maldonado got 3 penalties. I don't know how you managed to get 3 penalties in a race. That's past the first two. But it's going to be interesting.
That's just how. I think Hamilton, if he's got, if he wants to get that championship, the World Championship for the 8th time, he has to start pulling away by now. And Max is going to have a good crowd presence though that will cheer him on because I think he's Belgian.
Yeah, he's born in Belgium, and but do you want to know what's
I definitely have a fan base there.
But do you want to know what's fun? Do you want to know what's interesting? Do you want to know what race is after Belgium? The Dutch Grand Prix. Yeah, Netherlands.
As the Dutch Grand Prix didn't look like his home race enough. Yeah, let's carry that over to Zandvoort. I can't wait to see Zandvoort return to F1.
Hopefully Valtteri Bottas does not play bowling again. Hopefully. I don't know if there's going to be rain. I don't know. You never know about Spa. Red Bull, the Red Bull cars, and Lance Stroll
has a better chance right now in the constructors than Mercedes. Even though, the gap between what I'm trying to say is the gap between Hamilton and Verstappen is larger than the gap between Mercedes and Red Bull in the World Constructors Championship.
But Perez has Helmut Marko has been talking about Perez is not doing good enough. I don't know why.
That doesn't make sense, but usually we know how Red Bull likes to have a self-leading second entry.
But it's Helmut Marko you're talking about. But you're talking about Helmut Marko. You're talking about him. He tried to get
he puts drivers through conveyor belts. You don't know where you're going next.
Well, do you want to know what they once did in 2005? They had their main lineup. They had Coulthard in the main car. They had Christian Clean and Vintiano Liuzzi swapping races back in 2005. So some races Liuzzi was in the car, some races Albers was in the car. So they just swapped the second car.
Back in the Minardi days.
Yeah, no, this was Red Bull 05. The first year of Red Bull. They kept swapping races. I don't know what was the 3-driver strategy at Red Bull in 2005.
But it's pretty much no different except for number of races a year. I don't want to see Trevor go like that, but at least he got multiple wins under the bag. That's exactly how he should have raced throughout his career. And he just never was placed in the right team at the right time. Maybe this was it. This was meant to be. He finally had that kind of season.
It's gonna be interesting. Belgium. There's support series. There's W series and F3. F2 is only coming back at Monza. F3's running with W series.
Porsche Super Cup. Are they racing?
I think Porsche Super Cup's there too. I know F2's they're running at Monza as the next Formula 2 race, but Formula 3 and W Series they're there too.
A lot of drivers have taken laps around Spa. Probably more laps around Spa than anywhere else on the World Championships.
Yeah, Spa. Spa's a long track, 7 kilometers, 4.3 miles. It's 4.3 miles long track. It's always an interesting time to race at Belgium. Eau Rouge, Raidillon.
It's like
up there.
Getting Spa right is like getting the quadratic formula right for a math test. I mean, it takes a lot of practice. But I don't even know why I remember that. It's been a long time since I was taken any kind of math class, thankfully. But I think this is good. We've definitely reached the end of this podcast. A lot of great racing, and I am wearing the Boston Bruins hat, and I do send my heartfelt condolences out to the family of and friends of Jimmy Hayes, who tragically lost his life at the age of 31. Just a horrible case, but I just want you
Hey,
guys know because I have this Birds cap on. Yes, Justin.
Yeah. I just checked the weather coincidentally for Spa. It's supposed to run rain Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Ooh, we might get rain.
On that?
Between 80 and 90% for the weekend. Ooh.
I know it's still Monday. Usually weather radars like to change throughout the week, but still big.
If there's rain, it's
going in the road.
Yeah, and Spa's a tough track on its own without the rain. It's gonna be even tougher with rain. Like, remember the Hungarian Grand Prix on the start? We didn't think with the rain it was gonna be that crazy start. Hopefully,
how about this past 24 hours? It was raining like pretty much for the entirety of that race.
Yeah, hopefully Lance Stroll does not play bowling either when he got the Leclerc. It's gonna be interesting. See what's gonna go on. Alpine, they're coming off a win. Remember Alpine's win with Ocon at
through the roof, I tell you.
Yeah. Ocon's win was just impressive. Nobody expected Ocon to win.
Alonso's one of his, more familiar tracks.
Yep,
he knows how to turn a good lap around here.
Look,
Firecracker shot.
There'll be local racing, Penny Series. They have 3 races in Quebec this weekend.
IndyCar, the first race?
Yep, IndyCar on the 28th, which is Friday, and then on the next day, on the 29th, on the 28th on Saturday is IndyCar. The next day, the 29th, doubleheader at Autodrome Chaudière. So 3 races in 2 days. Yep, short track. That's where Lessard got his first ever career start and career win. And so basically,
rounds 3, 4, and 5.
Yep. Round 4, 5, and 6 because round 3 was
because
round 1
we had the doubleheader at
Sunset.
Yeah,
Sunset. And round 3 was at Trois-Rivières. So round 4, 5, and 6 of 11. So so tune into all the races this weekend. Yep.
Give me a good one, you guys. That's my back with a false messenger. So there's that.
14. Jaguars have 3 points, but they're probably not going to do anything because they're not good. But they're better than the Eagles. Sorry, Eagles fans.
Okay, for Justin, Emmer, I'm Joe Lane. We're going to sign off. Thank you all for watching episode 125. I'll be back for 126. Have a good night.